Great Friday morning, everybody. Welcome back to your midday hang. Annie and Elsten here with you for the next 4 hours on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan, with Annie Heilbrunn and Braden Soprenet. I'm Craig Elsten. We are together in our Odyssey studios overlooking scorching hot San Diego. Murphy Canyon specifically is where our windows are pointed. We're here for the next 4 hours with you, going until 2 o'clock. When and Chris will check in then. They've got a 3.5-hour program. At 5:40, Sam Levitt takes over with the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show. And then for the first time since the first series at home, first domestic series of the year, it's the Padres and the Giants out at Petco Park for 3 getting started tonight. Annie, very good morning to you.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday.
Is it a happy Friday?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's a happy Friday. I know, but last night sucked.
Flush it. Gotta flush it.
You do have to flush it. You do. We did a hot tub podcast right after the game last night, and I hate those. I hate them. I don't even know how we did it for years. I don't know how Sammy does it. I do know how he does it. He does it through repetition. He does it through being there every night, getting numbed to it. But I don't like going on and talking right after something terrible happens for the team, because you're emotional and you lose your reason. I think a lot, I know, because I got a lot of texts, I got a lot of, messages online and whatnot. A lot of folks, it's traumatizing when your closer gives up a what I would call a backyard hero play. Because I don't know about you guys, but I remember being in the backyard as a kid growing up. We have a tiny yard. We don't have a big old baseball field back there. So we got a little bat, and we got the stick ball, we got the ball with the wrapped up paper and wrapped in masking tape and such. And every time that you're out there, what is it? Bases loaded, 9th inning, down 3, full count. Let's go. Grand slam. Like that. It's a backyard hero play. And that's what the Tigers got last night. The ultimate. 2 strikes, 2 outs, bases loaded, down 3, and over the fence it goes.
By their number 9 hitter, which makes it even more of a backyard baseball kind of play. But yeah, the Padres completely in control of that game for 8 innings, 2 outs, and 2 strikes. I know Suarez, that whole inning was wobbly, but he just needed one more strike. I mean, he'd be out of this entire thing. And he said after the game, he liked the pitch. He liked where it was. He liked what he threw. The guy just put a good swing on it. And that kind of, was that. You like Braden said, you got to flush it and move on. But the 2 walks definitely didn't help. He said after the game, he threw a lot of pitches. That hurt him too, Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, look, he has only blown 4 saves this entire season. Yep. I mean, most teams you're looking at like 10 is probably like a normal blown save number to have by this point in the season, right? Even for like your good closers.
Well, that's where the 6 or 7 is where most closers are right now.
Okay.
And many are actually around 4 or 5 blown saves. Suarez is right on line. What you said is right. The only guy with 10-plus blown saves is Clay Holmes, and everyone in New York wants his lunch. And if Robert Suarez had blown 10 saves this year, no one would want Suarez in the closer role. But he's blown 4 out of 35. So it's one of the things that does happen in baseball. And it's not to say that there are not aspects of last night's game worthy of inspection, worthy of discussion. There are. But ultimately, a closer blowing a save that is a reliable closer is the price you pay. It's the tax on having a great closer. You have to pay that tax. Every once in a while, that closer is going to blow a save. When he does, it's going to hurt. It's always going to be painful. It's always going to be emotional. It's always going to be dramatic by design, because that's the nature of their job. But when someone does a great job and then they miss one, the reaction sometimes, the natural reaction is an overreaction. And so I think both of us are here this morning to say you don't need to overreact to the man and the performer, Robert Suarez. We can talk about usage patterns. We can talk about a lot of other things. But the man, the performer, Suarez, has been dynamite as this team's closer this year.
Yeah, he definitely deserves that benefit of the doubt and can definitely get into why some of the reasoning behind leaving him in there in that situation. But he didn't have his best stuff. I mean, he was throwing the ball really hard, right? 101, 102, but his command was off, clearly, right? The 2 walks through just 12 strikes and 26 pitches. And you do have to watch the fact that of his 4 blown saves, 3 have come in the past 22 games. As I see a quote, a comment here in the chat from Rich, the rent is coming due. Well, yeah, he pitched 4 of the last 5 days, and so did Jason Adam, and so did Tanner Scott. And it's hard to say. I mean, look, they're in a playoff push. They want to use their dominant guys to get to where they want to go. At the same time, it doesn't all happen in a vacuum. Every guy's arm is not, hey, I gave him a day of rest and now he comes back and he's okay. There's like a cumulative effect of the season that will wear on any player, not just a pitcher, but any position player, anyone, that you just don't know exactly when that's going to hit.
Well, every single team in every sport, unless you're, one of them lucky undefeateds, every single team has a loss of the year. And for the best teams, usually the loss of the year is your elimination loss at the end of the year. Because remember, 12 teams make the tournament and only one avoids having that final loss. It's just part of life. But in the regular season, every team has their loss of the year. And I'm here this morning to say I hope that last night is our loss of the year. Because our previous loss of the year, I believe very strongly, was a May evening in Colorado when the team had a 5-run lead in the 9th. And starting with Peralta, ending with Suarez, blew that game. It was a devastating game. We were going to take 3 out of 4 in Colorado. It wound up being a split. And that's a long time in the rearview mirror. This now, at home, up 3-0, sweep is in your back pocket, essentially. 2 outs, 2 strikes, give up a grand slam. There it is. That's the loss of the year. Let's keep it that way and move on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't categorize them, but I can understand where you're coming from. It just, to me, was, it's a gut-wrenching loss, but it's one where you also go, we were going to win that game. We did have that sweep in hand, and that, I guess you can look at as kind of a silver lining for them, and they also took the series. So if you're losing at a rate, hopefully, that is not going to handicap you in any way, because it is getting closer. I mean, the Mets and the Braves are now tied for that final spot in the wild card race, and it's only, 3 games under the Padres. So you got to watch out for sure, but because the race is continuing to stay tight. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, for Robert Suarez, I mean, I heard a lot of talk like he's ready to go. It's very rare that a reliever is going to say he's not ready. It's very rare. I mean, they will sometimes, right? Like there was a time earlier this year that Robert Suarez said that he didn't want to pitch that night, or he needed a blow or whatever. But at least from my conversations with relievers over the years, when you're asked, are you good? Are you good? A lot of times you're going to say yeah, because you don't want to be seen as someone who's not ready to go, ready to take the ball.
I 100% agree. So let's turn to the thing that we actually can talk about, in my opinion, because talking about Robert Suarez's job is silly. Robert Suarez will get the next save opportunity as long as he is available. Now, he's probably not available tonight, but honestly, Adam and Scott should also not be available tonight. They've thrown 4 out of the last 5 days. And as such, what I saw last night was 100 billion% consistent with what Mike Schilt has done all year long. All season, Mike Schilt has taken out his starter, 1 batter before he blows up instead of 1 batter after he blows up. Last night, 7th inning, Martin Perez cruises into the inning on a super manageable pitch count that certainly had me at home on the couch thinking, get through 8. Like I was thinking, cruise through 8 innings.
Yeah, he was cruising. I mean, he had a few people on base, right? But he was cruising. And he was a low pitch count.
He was, and then he gave up a soft single, and he gave up a second, reasonable, normal, no big deal single.
He didn't want to come out.
But then the tying run was at the plate. And he circled them out. He was furious, and I get it.
Which is good. That's a competitor. That's good. Yeah.
Listen, last year he would not have been taken out of the game. The manager who's coming to work on the third base side of the dugout this weekend always left in his starter to try and get that last out. He always left in his reliever to try and get that last out. And that's where he took criticism, was for leaving a guy in too long. Later on, we're going to talk with Mark Willard from our sister station up in San Francisco, 95.7 The Game. We can talk to him about, the way people in San Francisco feel about how Bob's used his bullpen this year. But the way Schilt uses his bullpen is he always grabs a guy an inning early, or with 2 outs in the inning. He'll pull a guy, bring in the next reliever, and then have that reliever start.
He's aggressive with the bullpen, yeah.
Very aggressive with the bullpen, and he's very aggressive with using his top relievers and using them in concert. And as such, once Adam came into the game in the 7th inning last night, and it's 3-0, you knew that unless the Padres offense ballooned the lead, Scott was going to follow him, and Suarez was going to follow Scott. It was absolutely inevitable, because that's consistently the way Mike has run things. And he has consistently pitched his top relievers back-to-back games. He's consistently used them 3 out of 4 and 4 out of 5 games, 5 out of 7 as well. And if you go back, I believe Suarez was appearing in his 7th game out of the last 10. So yeah, he uses the heck out of these guys. There has always been a downside risk to doing that. There has always been the possibility of the backdoor collapse when a fatigued reliever continues to pitch. However, many times this year, the Padres have gotten away with it. Yeah. Almost all the time, they've gotten away with it. So what I really hope about last night's game, Annie, I know it's semantics to say loss of the year. That's something from my own personal memory cabinet. That's fine.
I'm not even saying you're wrong. I
I
can't
understand.
remember them all.
Yeah, I understand. Flew right past. I get it. But what I would really like is for this day to be a tangible learning lesson for that brain trust, a reminder. Because sometimes you get into a bad habit, but it doesn't nail you, and it becomes easier to perpetuate that habit. Because people are warning you, hey, no, that's risky. Hey, be careful, shouldn't do that. I think the example I used last night on the podcast was speeding, right? Hey, don't speed. That's dangerous. I know it gets you to your work faster. I know you're a little late and you need to go, but don't do it. You could get a ticket. You could get in an accident. It's dangerous. Don't do it. You do it. You do it. You do it. Red and blue lights behind you. You get pulled over. License registration. Now you've got a ticket. Now you've got a fine. Now you've got to deal with this. Now your insurance goes up. Now you're a little bit more prone to hold that 75 instead of going to 88 or going to 90. And I use that analogy to say we've been pushing Suarez. We've been pushing Scott. We've been pushing Adam. They've been responding. They've been doing the job. All the way through, the chance of a blow-up was there. Now a blow-up has happened. Hey, it didn't happen in Game 2 of the playoffs to blow a game that eliminates us from the tournament and ends our season. It happened here with 21 games left in the season. Let it be a lesson so that when we get to the playoffs, these guys are cycling through and they're healthy and ready to go.
Yeah, and I don't even know if I talked to Ruben Niebla and Mike Schilt today, they might not do anything differently. They might not do anything differently. They have all the reports. They see the velocity. They see the arm angle. They see the slot. They see exactly what they're looking at, like to the T, spin, all that, everything, blah, 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 right? And so they might say, this was our best option. This was the way we needed to go. I don't know. We don't know what they know about the bullpen that we don't know, right? But I think that it's something to keep an eye on for sure. I see a lot of comments here in the chat about what Kevin Acee asked about a month ago about the bullpen. And I think the big thing there, and is something too that the offense has said themselves, Jerks and Profar has said it, among others, Jake Cronenworth, that it's nice to get a game where we don't have to use those heavy hitters in the back end of the bullpen. It's nice to score so many runs that we don't have to go to those guys because we understand we need to be giving them nights off. They're going to get overworked. That is something the clubhouse understands. Whether or not that is officially said by anyone else, the players in the clubhouse understand that. Now, that's easier said than done. Hey, go score 5 more runs. Go score 2 more runs. Go score 3. Okay, we can say that on this side, but they can't, I mean, I think they were trying, right?
Yeah.
They were trying to get those runs across. But for Robert Suarez and that bullpen, I do think it's something to watch. I mean, this is his first full year as a closer in the big leagues. He's in an intense playoff race. He's actually gotten a fair amount of rest, but it's in between these chunks where he's used a lot at a time. So he'll go like 3, 4, 5 days without working at all, but then he'll work a lot at once. He has thrown more than his career high innings already to this point this season. So certainly I think like with, like they're watching Michael King, like they're watching some others. You got to watch that, but you also have to watch that with Jason Adam, with Tanner Scott. You got to kind of watch that with everybody and see how do you utilize, because it's not like they're so far ahead of the race that they can sit everyone.
No.
Now, I see a comment in the chat about Hoeing. I also don't know where Hoeing's, maybe they just haven't found it. I can't remember. I mean, he hasn't pitched since August 29th.
They keep using him waiting to use him in the situation that hasn't arisen.
Exactly.
Of late.
Multiple innings, right?
Now, again, we're all managing in hindsight. Mm-hmm. And, I thought it was funny. A couple of buddies who play cards texted me last night and literally like, well, they should have done something different. And I'm like, it's a lot easier to put the bets in if you know what cards are going to show up, right? Like if you know what the result of the hand is going to be, it's super easy to go like, yeah, I should bet all in. No, I should fold this one. I'm not going to win it.
If you know who's winning the NFL game tonight, it's a lot easier to bet.
A lot easier to bet. So Mike Schilt doesn't have that opportunity. He has to work in real time. He has to make decisions in real time that are competitive ones. And therefore, the only thing you'll ever hear me, and I think I've been really consistent about this, the only thing you'll hear me criticize is his process, not his results. Last night, his process was entirely consistent with what he's done. And people who are like, I heard someone call the morning show, well, Alec Jacobs should have got the start. What are you talking about? Like, Suarez is our closer. Rolling Alec Jacob out there and then he walks 2 guys and then you bring in Suarez is ridiculous. And everyone would rightfully criticize that for happening. Now, a different universe where in the 7th, instead of Adam coming in, Hoeing comes in. And then Scott pitches the 8th and Adam pitches the 9th. You could have done that. There are other options. We don't have to blindly, we don't have to accept that what they did was always the right thing every time. And that's why I just say, again, I'm not criticizing the process. Last night was consistent. I hope it's a lesson, a reminder. These guys are human. It's September. They're all at their most tired right now. The Eno Saris thing, relievers only go one direction. As the year goes along, they only get a little more tired. So I get it. It's one game. Get rid of it. The team's 23-12 now with their new team. Or 23-11, pardon me, with their new team. It's still a great team. It's one loss. We're going to be fine. Now, the first 100 games of the year, a trait of this team was that a bad loss would become 3, 4, 5 losses. That was something that happened multiple times in the first 100 games of the year. They'd take a loss, a bad loss, the Yuki Matsui blown save in Kansas City, the Colorado blown save, and all of a sudden would be lose the next game. You're staring at a 3-game losing streak. What do? They struggle a little more. 5-game losing streak, you'll probably be under the cut line.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to let it snowball, but we've seen from this team that they have had since the All-Star break especially, right? They had one streak of 2 games in a row of losses, but other than that, they've been turning it around fairly quickly. I think they're flushing it fairly quickly. And I think, you look at that bullpen too, and it's like you have to kind of keep that in mind too. He could have gotten, and he did get Estrada up, and you can argue, was it too late, whatever. Estrada pitched the night before. That didn't mean he was down. But remember, they used 7 relievers the night before. And again, some of them didn't pitch, but 9, 10 pitches, maybe they could have gone again or whatever. But you also have to think ahead. Now you have 3 more against the Giants before you have an off day. So you kind of have to balance that act. And you also have to, I don't know what the, with Robert Suarez, because I do think he deserves the benefit of the doubt where there could be an effect where you pull him and you don't let him try to get out of it, where he's 1 strike away, as hard as that is sometimes. And maybe that has a different kind of snowball effect that you don't want after you've trusted this guy all season long, So there's a lot of things I think that they're weighing out, but we'll we'll see what the trends become, right?
Right.
Like we're going to know within the next few weeks, essentially, kind of how this evolves or devolves, or whether it's a big, it's a one random event, or it's going to be something to keep an eye on moving forward. I think the signs are going to tell us, but I think that, I think that looking ahead at this series upcoming too, you got to kind of consider that as well.
Hey, you're asking me, my answer is this is a blip on the radar and the team is going to be fine. But if it's a blip on the radar that the team learns from, if it's a blip on the radar that the team learns from, it could keep us from losing a playoff game that's the difference in our season just about 3-4 weeks from now. Because I think this team is making the playoffs, and I think they've got a great chance to win when they get to the playoffs. But nothing is guaranteed. Mm-hmm. Nothing is guaranteed. Correct. Of anyone, including the San Diego Padres. So there's no time to let up, and that's the only reason I offered that cautionary note. This team has shown this in the past as a character flaw of taking one loss and turning it into 3 or 4, and they haven't done that for the last 40 games plus, and we'd love to see that continue with a big game tonight in the City Connect kits, taking on the Giants on a Friday evening with Michael King out there, well-rested, should be ready to go. Looking forward to it this evening. All right, it's a Friday. We got a big show for you lined up, as always. Fridays always wind up just being a ton of fun, even though we had to start with loss of the year. We had to start with the loss of the year. Hey, look, everyone's going to have a loss of the year. The White Sox have a list of 70 that they can pick from. They're like, which one was the worst of this group? I know we've lost 109 times, but really 39 of those weren't that bad. What about these 70? They really stunk. We've got a list of 30 games that are our best game of the year. We really do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, including one like this week.
Yeah.
So adding one to our worst loss of the year list is, maybe we were due. Maybe we were due along the way. Anyways, when we continue, and as we continue, a satisfying start last night to the NFL season.
Sorry. Just so if the Tigers had come up like 10 runs in the first 3 or 4 innings, it's still a loss if the Padres lose. It just would be different. You know what I'm saying? Like, I completely agree. You have to look at things like, should the starter have gone longer? Should Robert Torres be used? Should all of that? But the loss is a loss. A loss in this stretch, as long as you don't allow it to become more. I mean, it's how many in the last...
Yeah.
I don't know. They won the series, right? Like, I can't remember what happened.
They won 2 out of 3.
Yeah. Like,
teams got a winning record. They're 12-9 in their last 21.
For sure, you keep your eye on. You can't snowball, but I wonder if it would be different for people if, like, the Tigers had just got off to like 10, 5 lead or whatever.
It would have been completely different.
Okay, you would have just, even though the same result, loss.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, psychology.
Yeah.
You had it for 26 outs.
Yeah.
You had it for 26 outs. And you lose it with 2 strikes and 2 outs. Absolutely, it's a psychological, devastating loss. Ask the 40,000 plus that were there last night. People were bummed and stunned and dragged out of there. But yeah, still one game, and I think that no problem. I like this team. I like their direction. I fully expect them to take at least 2 out of 3 from the Giants this weekend, and to keep this thing rolling. And the only thing, which we would come back to talk about Monday, is if it didn't go that way.
Correct.
As if it didn't go that way. And then we'll say, uh-oh, it really did happen, and we'll have something to talk about. Until then, we don't have anything to talk. Well, we got plenty to talk about. We got 4 hours of show, including Bryce Miller makes the case for Jackson Merrill to be MVP. In our Padres Deep Dive Hour, let's look at other top closers in the league, offer a little perspective, plus an update on the hunt for October. It wasn't the worst night to lose a game, even though it wasn't a good night to lose a game.
Isn't that for real, though? It's so weird. It's really weird how they're losing at this. Like, they'll lose the same night. They'll win the same night. For the most part, a little quirk here and there. The Padres gained a game on the Diamondbacks a few days ago, right, when the Diamondbacks lost. But how crazy is that? They lose the same night, and then the Dodgers don't play. So, weird. Yeah. Baseball.
Had a shot at going a game and a half up.
Yeah, for sure. It's a missed opportunity there, yeah.
And then baseball gave you the old gauntlet slap. You forgot I'm stupid?
Baseball kicks you in the nuts all the time, man.
I mean, I thought we really got to go to break. It's 10:25.
Sorry. Oops.
But I really thought about what Elo said on yesterday's roundtable, and it was true. The one thing you got to be worried about is just baseball. Baseball gets you. And baseball got us last night. Got plenty more to come. We'll set up more of it when we come back after this. It's Annie and Elsten, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. What's happening, everybody? 10:30 on Friday. It is Andy and Elsten here with you for our final show of the week. Still to come, our Padres Deep Dive Hour included therein Mark Willard, who is our drive time counterpart at San Francisco's 95.7 The Game, will be along to give us a preview of what's going on with the Giants. I mean, we've literally not seen the Giants for 4 months this season. We've watched them from afar, sputter and flutter, and really be what we thought we were for the first half of the season, a 500 team, a team that just kind of can't get past itself, can't get over the top, can't get over 500. 3 games under 500 coming into this weekend. It felt like they were in complete collapse, and they pulled a game out yesterday against Arizona.
That was another thing. I mean, they got their hearts broken too. Arizona did yesterday because the Giants had the walk-off. It ended, I think, 3-2.
Yep.
So, and then there was like the Dodgers lost the day before to the Angels, like 11-1 or 12-1. There's been some weird baseball this week.
It happens. It's September. Things are going to happen. It's not always going to stay the same.
Yeah.
It never stays the same. And we always think it's going to stay the same, and it always changes. That's the nature of things. So we'll talk to Mark Willard and find out what's changed in San Francisco. Of course, 12 o'clock Sports Fix comes your way at the midpoint of the show with all of the interesting news for the weekend. If you missed it, yesterday we completed the assignment. We understood the assignment. It took 3 segments, but we did it. We picked a team. Our official, unofficially official, Annie and Elsten NFL team is our beloved Detroit Lions. The Lions are our team. Let's go. So at 12:20, we'll preview their game because that's our team. So that's what we would do.
Okay.
We would preview the game, right? Because we'd want to know, because we care. The Lions, they play Sunday Night Football.
Hey.
They play the Rams this weekend. So we'll talk about that. Fast Money is coming up at 12:45. That's today's silly game with your chance to qualify for our end of the month grand prize drawing to go to Vegas 2 nights at either the Wynn or Encore. Tickets to their spectacular acrobatic show. That's coming up at 12:45. 1 o'clock hour will feature Crossing Streams with Media Melanie coming along around 1:20. Plus Ask Us Anything to wrap up the show. All kinds of fun between here and 2 o'clock. Last night, NFL season began. We had eliminated the Chiefs and the Ravens as potentials. I think because they're, too close to the top, right? I mean, the Chiefs would be ridiculous. It's like buying into IBM. Like, I'm a fan of Man City. They've won the 11 championships in a row, Just doesn't make sense. The Ravens, intriguing. That was quite a game.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, I switched over after the Padres game finished, and I thought that the Ravens were coming back. I thought that they got it. And then the play before that, too, Lamar just kind of missed on that one, And so they had their chances there at the end. But that toe, man, toe got you.
It's a real play, Yeah. Hey, you got to get both feet in.
Yeah, and a toe on the line, needed pull it back. I mean, that's easier said than done. Get it like 1 inch back or whatever. Have a small foot, I don't know, but it was fun to watch. I thought it was fun. It was a fun game there at the end. It started slow, it sounds like, but by the time I tuned in, it was getting a little more heated back and forth.
I had the Padre game on my laptop. I had the NFL game up on the TV, and just kind of keeping my eye on both at the same time. But Braden was coaching last night.
Yeah, I caught the tail end of the game because we played at 6 o'clock last night. It was warm at 6 o'clock by the coast. So I got the tail end that coaches went and got a drink after the game, and I watched the last kind of drive there for the Ravens, and that was a fun little drive they put together there. And if Isaiah Likely wears white cleats, maybe the Ravens are 1-0 today.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, footwear choice.
Yeah, Likely looked really good. If you're a Mark Andrews fan, or fantasy owner, I'm sure you're really pissed off after last night. But they said Isaiah Likely was going to get a lot of opportunities. He looked good last night. Mahomes still doing his thing. Travis Kelce. Not a lot of work in terms of fantasy points, but that being said, they got a lot of mouths to feed in Kansas City.
Yeah, they do.
And they don't even have Hollywood Brown back yet.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Yes. You said yesterday you don't bet, but you do fantasy.
I do fantasy.
Is that betting or?
Well, only if you do it for money. I mean, we have a fantasy league here at Odyssey. on the rate
Well, what do you
Greg
win
plays.
with that? Like,
Yeah, that may or may not have monetary deals. Tony runs the
okay.
league though, and so Tony has his prices, and Tony's prices are very expensive.
oh, like the buy-in?
The buy-in.
Oh,
to the
wow.
league.
I didn't realize.
But Tony's in the league, Elo's in the league, Scraby's in the league. They were all complaining about me getting the first pick 2 years in a row, which was totally random, by the way. Again, I'm not the commissioner of that league. Tony is. On the rate, Greg plays. John Flint from Caisson's in the league. Sammy Levitt's in the league now. It's pretty fun. So that's one of my leagues. I'm in a touchdown-only league in my dad's archaic league that he plays in, and that is incredibly frustrating because
Touchdown only.
it's touchdown only. So like, if your guy, let's say you got, you know, and it like Tyreek Hill, right?
Yeah.
And Tyreek Hill
Useless.
rips off a 90-yard play and gets tackled at the 1 yard line.
Useless.
You get no points.
Nothing.
And then they put in they put in Jay Wright, the second backup running back in Miami, and he scores a touchdown. Jay Wright, one rush, 3 yards, and a TD, 10 points. Tyreek Hill, 90 yards on a gain, 0 points.
So, like, line bucking fullbacks wind up being
They're
top
more
picks.
valuable, right? Like running backs are very valuable, but it's all tiered too. So, like, you know, quarterbacks' touchdown points are less than running backs and receivers, right? And so every it's really balanced. Where like every position group on your team basically scores around the same amount of points.
Oh,
Isn't
wow.
Keenan Allen always like 120 receptions, 4 touchdowns?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, God.
You know, so he would be completely worthless.
Oh.
Yeah, like
You
there's
know it.
guys.
I never heard
there's-
of a touchdown league.
I've
Yeah,
heard
so-
of it. I've never
Okay.
played in it. I'm
So
not that masochistic.
They've been playing.
right.
It's called their league's called Fantasy Football for Losers, and
That's my kind of league, for
They've
sure.
been playing since like they were playing before fantasy football was online. Like they would take the box scores out of the paper and then have to like calculate the points and then send everybody out like what the score was for that
Yeah.
week. That's how long they've been playing this game. They have added some yardage. If you go over 100 yards, like you get a bonus point for that now, just so it's a little bit of yardage. But the players, it's so funny. Like when I draft that league, it's so different of like who's more valuable in that league compared to the league that's, you know, PPR league that we play in, you know, here or like with my other buddies. So I'm in 3 leagues. That's my max.
Oh,
I can't
God.
be in more than 3.
Did you decide to do fantasy football?
I skipped
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
so
still.
you got to
yeah.
really pay attention.
Yeah. I've got baseball, and I'm in 2 baseball leagues, and the season's still going.
I don't know
so
how
the
people juggle this.
Yeah,
3 leagues, 2?
I can't. So it works out for me because I also do basketball. So that's in the winters, and that's
okay.
you know, the baseball season will be long done. In fact, my baseball fantasy team is facing relegation this week. I'll be relegated and dumped into the B League this week, and I'll be done worrying about it. So,
Oh, man.
yeah, hey, listen, it happens. But nobody cares about our fantasy teams. That
No.
is an absolute axiom that has never been proven false.
I thought the kickoff sucked.
I
Did
didn't
you?
see the kickoff.
The kickoffs, well, Harrison Butker put it in the back of the end zone every time anyway, so it's not even like they got a return out of it.
Yeah.
Kansas City's like, we'll just give them the ball to whatever it is now. I think it's super lame. I find it very ironic. I find this ironic. It is the NFL, but you do the new kickoff thing for and you claim it as player safety. And tonight you're going to send 2 teams to Brazil, in which you have to make the buses for those teams extra armored,
Yeah.
because of the situation in Sao Paulo, I guess. They are not allowed to leave their hotel, and if they do, they're recommending not bringing your cell phone, like we had in the report. So, like, let's talk about. We really want to talk about player safety here. I mean, we're sending these guys to a foreign country in South America, but not the kickoffs. You know, we got to get rid of the kickoffs. It's funny to me that that's where we draw the line in the sand. But I think the kickoff was bad. It was not
No,
good.
I think that's a great point. I don't think they should be playing in.
No.
But they don't seem like it's ready for them to be playing there. But I'm sure we'll get into all the
I'm
quirks
not
there. But I thought Xavier Worthy. Did you guys see those?
No.
I mean,
What?
Xavier Worthy. That he's
tiny.
I would say he's
Scored.
but he's like a fast. I mean, would you say that he's gonna challenge the other guy, Tyreek?
for speed.
Yeah,
And then,
are you going to add him to the
Tyreek's-
Olympic?
Tyreek is thicker
Than Noah Lyles.
than Xavier
Yeah.
Worthy. I don't know.
No, his first NFL game, 2 touchdowns. First
Yeah.
one was on his first touch.
I don't think that's sustainable for him because he weighs 170 pounds.
He's a small dude.
He's very
Yeah.
small. I was talking to Quinn Early, who's one of our coaches at Cathedral, who played in the NFL for a long
yeah,
time.
yeah, former Charger receiver.
Former Charger, he's played for the Bills, the Saints, and he was like 170 pounds. He's like, I showed up to Iowa at 170 pounds, and he's like, when I got to the NFL, I was playing about 180, 190 after I left Iowa, and he said it's such a major difference. And you saw it with some of the camp footage. I mean, Worthy got just ragdolled and just thrown around. So him staying healthy, I think, is going to be the biggest thing for him. But they got a lot of mouths to feed in Kansas City. I mean, Kelsey didn't score any touchdowns. They got Worthy. They got Rashid Rice. They got Hollywood Brown. That hasn't even played yet. I mean, they're going to be trying to be spreading the level out. Plus, their running backs. They got Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Isaiah Pacheco in the backfield. So, very interesting, to say the least. I'm not an advocate for NFL games in any foreign country. Unless we start getting major soccer events here in the United States that count.
I just think it's crazy. Like the green, you can't wear green because it's the color of the rival soccer.
Are you serious?
Oh my God, no! Do we have time for this, or do I have time for this story or no?
Briefly, but
Okay,
Packers are
so
wearing green, aren't
the soccer
they?
stadiums. No, the Eagles have the wrong color green because the soccer stadium's rival, the Corinthians' rival, they have that same green, and none of that green is allowed in the stadium from a home team or whatever. So they have to wear black and white jerseys.
That's why they're wearing the black helmets and the black pants.
Yeah, and I guess the Packers have the okay color green, or because maybe they're considered visiting. But I don't know what the fans are going to do. But then I got into this, and there is this major rivalry between the Corinthians and the Palmeiras
sounds like a
in Sao
Bible
Paulo, and a car crash, and some guys got killed, and they couldn't pull up new people for their roster, and there was just this huge rivalry that dates back 100 years or something. So you can't wear the green in the stadium. You had to change the colors. You can't tweet because Twitter is
they
banned
got rid of Twitter
in Brazil.
in Brazil.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so players' wives are getting texts from the player. Not players. Reporters' wives are tweeting it out from
Yeah,
being
I
in
saw
America.
that.
They'll send them the text, the reporter, and then they'll tweet it out
And
on
then
their
they have
behalf.
to tweet it out for them.
And then the violence factor. These guys weren't allowed to leave their hotels. The violence factor to me should be considered here.
Until we start getting, especially Europe, they're really engulfed with sending all these games to Europe, which is it's fine. But how come we don't get the biggest soccer matches from Europe over here in the United States that count? I think it should be fair. Otherwise,
the
you should get
2026
preseason.
World Cup.
No,
World Cup will be here.
the Premier League and all those leagues.
Yeah, no, okay.
If we're gonna
that's
get
where
their
I'm with
C,
you.
D
Yes,
squads,
yes.
and we're gonna send our
Yes.
best product for our best sport, what are we doing here?
Now, someone made the comment to me that you could have said the same thing for Mexico City when the Padres played. Now,
Absolutely.
I don't, so
They'd
it's
make the same thing with the football games down
Right.
at Estadio
Absolutely.
Azteca
right,
too.
and
You
there
absolutely
does
could.
become a point, right, where you're okay, this is all great until someone actually gets, hopefully not, but someone gets, hurt, and you, I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
the players
it's-
are obviously very
yeah.
uncomfortable with this situation.
Well, the game's on Peacock if you want to enjoy it.
Tune in.
Who knows what will happen? You never know.
It's probably going to be entertaining, honestly.
It's going to be a football game. The teams are being carried in armored buses from hermetically sealed hotels to the field.
But the fans won't see that,
Yeah, for
so,
them, it's
right.
completely fine. The fans are actually Brazilian for the most part, and they're going to come enjoy it, and they're not going to be worried
Are they
about
gonna get-
being in their own home city because it's their home city. It's
Yeah.
the American expats or the folks who are flying in for the trip that might have their issues getting their wallets stolen and whatnot.
Be careful.
Yeah, but hey, 100-year-old soccer rivalry that's preventing an NFL team from wearing a particular color, that's a box ticked in favor of going to Brazil as far as I'm concerned.
I think I would love to visit Brazil one day. I have nothing against Brazil, just the semantics of this whole thing, the mechanisms
Yeah.
of it have been eyebrow raising.
It has
is all.
nothing to do with the country. It's
Yeah.
the situation, regardless. If this was happening in England, we'd be saying the
No, I
exact
know.
same thing.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
players said too,
Yes.
But yes, they will go to the field. They will go to the soccer stadium. It'll probably be a very entertaining, fun game.
Yeah.
when are they going to play in Antarctica and beat Joe Musgrove's world record?
I think it's inevitable.
They would have to clear so many. He couldn't even throw but so many pitches because think about how crazy this is.
Hang on, guys. Penguins can't buy YouTube TV. We're not going to.
We're not going down there.
We're not going
It's
to.
just crazy that he wasn't even allowed to throw but so many pitches, and at some speed because it displaced the environment that could have, had a ripple effect to ruin the ecological things going on there. That's wild.
NFL goes, this would be great entertainment.
Yeah,
we're going to play a game.
We're going to
down
give
there.
you a ton of money,
That's
an
right.
ton of money, and you're going to clear some snow for us, buddies.
But our kickoff's going to be lame.
The Penguins are just going to be
Penguins are having a
running
great
around.
time. Can you imagine watching an NFL game and the entire stands are just a bunch of Penguins?
Well, that'd be
Hilarious.
pretty funny.
That'd be great.
We'll get back to the NFL, of course, with Braden's information during the Sports Fix Plus. We will preview the Lions and the Rams coming up at 12:20. But up next, back to baseball. I was texting back and forth with Bryce Miller this morning because
shout out Bryce.
yeah, he made an interesting case. Merrill for Padres MVP, something we've literally done in a segment before on this show previously, but it led me to a question I had to ask him, same question I asked you yesterday, and I'm going to bring it up again today. Andy and Elsten after this on The Fan. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile and you can get tons of benefits and still save on every plan against AT&T and Verizon. Use their savings calculator to find out how at T-Mobile.com/switch. Got the Padres Deep Dive Hour coming up at 11, including an interview with Mark Willard from 95.7 The Game up in San Francisco. Little Giants preview for you, getting ready for the weekend, and really for the next 2 weekends, because it's Padres-Giants here, and then next weekend it's Padres-Giants up there.
6 games in the next, 8, 9 games? So 6 games against the Giants, coming up in the next week.
Hey, big games. Mm-hmm. Big games. Giants can mess up our season. They can come in and screw up our season. Or we can take care of business against the Giants. We're 3-4 against the Giants so far this year. Those games early in the year, you might remember the difference in that was a Sunday game up in San Francisco where Kim had a couple of errors and team blew a little bit of a lead. And that's the difference between 4-3 and 3-4 for the club this year. But you're going to miss Blake Snell twice in all likelihood. Now, yesterday Blake Snell threw a 45-pitch, 1-inning performance.
And then he got the hook.
So it's not impossible, with the Giants having listed TBA as their starter on Sunday, that they could recycle him after a 1-inning appearance. But I think it's far more likely that they don't do that, given that the Giants are not playing for anything. Their Fangraph playoff odds are 0.1%.
Oh, wait, what's crazy is they're not. How many games back are they? They have 0.1?
Yeah, they're 3 games under 500.
Oh, I mean, I feel like that should, I guess. Okay, I don't know. I don't know how they
Well,
the calculations.
there's like 20-something
like
games
they should have
left.
like 8% or something. 0.1?
No,
So
8%.
brutal.
No, they've got no chance. Yeah, they've got absolutely no
It's
chance.
better, to, I guess, to know that you have no chance, you know?
Yeah.
Then you can kind of play it out from there, I guess. But no, we'll get into it all later. But yeah, they face a rookie today, Mason Black. And then Logan Webb tomorrow.
They got Logie tomorrow.
Yeah.
So.
And then
they'll get
TBA.
him twice. That'll be the thing. You'll miss Snell twice, so you'll get Webb twice, and pick your poison. You know, Logan Webb will throw a complete game on you. That's the difference. The only time Blake Snell will throw a complete game on you is if he literally gets his 1 no-hitter of his career. Other than that, no chance. So all that's still to come. More on Suarez still to come. And we've got 1 minute left in this break. So I'm just going to say this instead. I thought Elias Diaz looked really good last night.
He did.
Double, 2 other lineouts at 108 miles an hour. Caught a great game. He and Perez, same country, native Venezuelans. They looked great together. And I look forward to seeing Diaz play again in a couple of days. I think
thought it was
he did
good.
great.
And he got to work with Martin Perez, and they had known each other for a long time, but worked together for the first time, got caught up to speed the last few days, and 2 really hard hit balls from him.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff and an encouraging debut, because I know I heard Elo yesterday doing a whole lot of the Rockies let him go, but I think he's actually pretty decent. We've got a defense of Robert Suarez up next on The Fan. Diving deep on your Padres on a Friday morning. Welcome back, everybody. It's your midday hang. Annie and Elsten here with you on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Annie Halpern, Craig Elsten, Braden Soprenet, all together with you on 97.3 FM radio, streaming worldwide on the Odyssey app, available as a podcast on all of your podcast platforms. Good work getting that back rolling. I know we had some podcasty issues the last week or two, but apparently I've had friends telling me, oh, thank you. In fact, literally, someone texted and said, whoever handles the podcasts, tell them bless you and thank you for getting it done so quickly. So, Braden, I'm passing it along.
It's nice.
That was yesterday.
Oh, yeah, I was trying to get that thing quick. We're backed up on a lot of this stuff.
Backed up.
Well, I know. We've got a computer that's actually a mule.
System is malfunctioning.
The new software that Odyssey decided to make themselves is still a work in progress.
Couple kinks in the old system.
Yeah, there's a couple things yesterday that just
on
got
the modem.
posted
The modem's just having a
today.
hard time
And
booting
just
up.
a lot of moving parts with things that they were not prepared
The
for.
dial-up just isn't working as well.
Well,
Yes.
they chose MySpace as their server, and they're suffering the problems.
Just
as
turn
a
it
result.
off and turn it back on.
What
You'll
is
be fine.
MySpace?
Oh,
That was something I never had.
I never had it either, to be honest with you,
That
but I
was
could have.
before my time.
I could have had a MySpace account, but I did not.
What a missed opportunity.
Hey, listen. live
I
and
heard it was
learn.
cool, I guess. I don't know.
Could have had my favorite song playing, the whole
Yes.
thing. As the hour continues, we'll update you on the hunt for October, including hopefully trying to dig a little bit of good news out of the schedules for the teams that we are competing against for playoff spots. At the bottom of this hour, Mark Willard will join us from San Francisco, Drive Time host 95.7 The Game, to talk about and preview the Giants. Here we are talking about our Padres, yesterday's devastating loss. Yeah, it's fair. It's only one loss. It's 1 out of 162. Same stuff we said after the first game of the year. But whenever you're up 3-0, the whole game, pitch a shutout the whole game, give it to your all-star closer and see him load the bases, then get a strikeout, then give up a grand slam with 2 outs and 2 strikes. Hey, it's a devastating loss.
it's a gut punch.
It's a gut punch, slap across the face, however you want to put it. It's a tough one. And it's led to a remarkable amount of overreaction this morning. When I look at social feeds, when I listen to the station, when I see what's going on, I've seen a lot of what I can only properly describe as overreaction. DFA Robert Suarez, overreaction.
I thought somebody wanted to send him down.
Yeah.
I was like, are you guys nuts?
Overreaction.
Hey, guys, must be his walk-in song.
Maybe, yeah, right?
I saw that at least a couple of times. I'm not, does it get you going like Hell's Bells? No, but to each their own. It's the reason why he blew that save was not his warm-up song.
No.
Sorry to tell you.
It was working 4 games in 5 days. That's what it was.
Yes, that
and
happens.
and honestly, when we talk about how Suarez pitched last night, the very first pitch told me something. When the outfielder ripped a line drive fair ball, because when Suarez is right, it's not about the command. It's not about the velocity.
Right.
The velocity is always there. 101, 99, 102. It's always there. It's been there every time. In his blown saves, it's been there. It's about his location. Because when Suarez has dominated this year with one pitch, it's not because he can just throw his fastball down the middle. He can't. He puts it in the top left corner, the top right corner, the bottom left corner. He rides that top line of the strike zone, on the graphic that you see on your screen, or maybe puts it 1/2 of a baseball above that line. He'll burn it on the edges. And that's how Suarez is able to dominate with 1.5 pitches, because he barely throws his changeup. Now, by contrast, yesterday, you can take a look. The pitch that was hit for a single, the pitch that was hit for the second hit, and then the grand slam are not on the top line. They are an inch below. They're more in what's just called leaving a pitch up, which is what it is, leaving it kind of a little bit up. And, furthermore, looking at the actual Meadows grand slam, Robert tried to hit the same spot like 6 times in a row. he tried to hit a high outside corner fastball, and he threw it and he missed, and then he got it, and then he missed, and then he missed again, and then he got it. And then the sixth time he threw it, Meadows was on the pitch. Mike Pomerantz had a good breakdown of it after the game. Like, when you're a hitter and you're shown the same velo, same location over and over, eventually you start looking for that spot. And I truly believe that's how he hit that grand slam.
Yeah, that is one thing I think is fair to look at, right? Like, he's so good with his fastball. His fastball just really the velocity on it, the heat on it. I mean, it's hard, right? But if the location's even a little bit off and you're not changing speeds at all and you're not really changing the eye movement, then yeah, I think you can see at that point, especially too, the last hitter up had walked a few, gotten to that point, and then even Robert Suarez said after the game, he threw too many pitches. Like, that hurt him, obviously, but you got to feel like at the end there when he was probably just trying to get that last one across, for a strike.
Yeah, and I mean, the command wasn't there the whole outing. The 2 walks, he was missing badly. He was throwing the ball in the dirt. It wasn't like he was getting squeezed by Blue. He
threw 12 strikes and 26 pitches. Again, we mentioned this at the top of the show. He's in his first season as a big league closer, full season, right, where he is the guy. He's surpassed his career high in innings, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? It's just something to watch. And they will monitor. They'll monitor everything on him, the arm angle, the slot, the velocity, everything that you can, look at. How he feels, how he's responding, all of that stuff. But yeah, I see a little here in the chat from Justin. Robert Suarez is a human being. He's allowed to have an off night, and
that's right.
That's right. I mean, now if it continues, right? I did mention 3 of his 4 blown saves have come in the last 22 games. So if this ends up being a trend, right, then you will look back and go, okay, well, it's more than just one night, right? But at this point, I think you got to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt there.
So I thought maybe some context, because it's natural. This is not an insult to anyone in the audience. I'm guilty of this as much as anyone. Annie is too. We're all myopic when we are only covering one team. We see our team every single day. We don't see the other teams in the league. We don't watch them as closely as we watch our team. So everything that happens gets magnified here. And when Suarez blows a save, it's like, oh my God, he must now be terrible. So how about a little bit of context, right? Okay, let's start with the league's save leaders. Ryan Helsley, 42. Emmanuel Clase, 41. Kyle Finnegan of Washington, 34. And there's Robert Suarez, 31. Robert Suarez is 4th in the league in saves.
Right up there.
This year. Let's go to innings. Have we overtaxed Robert Suarez? Have we overthrown him? Is this just malpractice by the team? Okay, well, let's take a look. Ryan Helsley, 59 2/3 innings. Clase, 64. Finnegan, 55. Suarez, 56.2. Iglesias of Atlanta, 58. Hader in Houston, 60 1/3. Clay Holmes, 55. Kirby Yates, 53 2/3. No, Suarez is right in the middle of that distribution.
Right. Just normal.
Yeah, he's literally in the middle of the distribution of those numbers between 53 and 64, or somewhat. He's at 56. He's in the lower end. He's in the lower end of the distribution of those numbers. So he has not been overused from an innings pitch standpoint. Now, we will accept that Suarez has had the most 4-out saves. He's been asked to get up and down the most, and he has been asked to cover 4-run leads the most. So those are things he has been asked to do. And as you said earlier, his distribution has been a little funny because there'll be, as is natural for a closer, but there'll be a week that he didn't pitch, and then it'll be 4 out of 5 days.
Yeah, and I love that you're taking a look at this because, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's other teams dealing with the same kind of probably questions or concerns, or at least maybe not even questions or concerns, but there's other closers that have been similar to the way that Robert Suarez has been used.
Now, how about blown saves? Because he blew a save last night. He blew his 4th save of the year. So, well, how about these top closers? Ryan Helsley has blown 4 saves. Emmanuel Clase has blown 3 saves. Kyle Finnegan has blown 5 saves. Iglesias, 3. Clay Holmes has blown 11 saves.
Clay's having a rough time.
Yeah. Okay, why don't I switch it to the top? Jordan Beeks has 9 saves, 9 blown. JoJo Romero in St. Louis, no saves, 8 blown. Daniel Hudson, L.A., 10 saves, 7 blown. How about Craig Kimbrell, 23 saves, 6 blown. How about Edwin Diaz, New York, one of the best closers in the league, right? 16 saves, 6 blown saves. How about the guy we gave up, the one that got away? Andres Munoz, 19 saves, 5 blown saves. Camilo Doval, in town with San Francisco, 22 saves, 5 blown saves, and I dare add, lost his job. Ryan Walker is now the closer. Camilo Doval is no longer the closer. I have set this relievers page queued to blown saves. I'm now at the bottom of the page. I can't find Suarez because 5 is the bottom of the page. So he's not even literally on the first page of relievers with blown saves this season.
Which is amazing. I mean, you look at that and you are reminded of what Robert Suarez has done for this Padres team. I think that the intangibles are probably, if you're looking at the numbers, which really, I mean, come on, those look good for Robert Suarez.
They're great.
Yeah, those look great. Maybe the intangibles of it being his first year closing. Maybe the intangibles of, being in that pennant race for, an intense period of time here. We don't know, like, how will he respond to it? How will all these guys respond to it? I think Robert Suarez has shown everybody that he is willing to do whatever the team needs, willing to take the ball whenever he's able, right? And willing to give it 100%, And so this is maybe just the month blip for him or whatever. Not even the month blip. I only say that because of the 3 blown saves in the last month, but it's very reasonable to think that he's just going through a weird pocket, like a position player goes through a slump or anybody's just going through a pocket, because he's also been, by the way, between these blown saves, he's done great and he's gotten saves between them. So it's not like you're just seeing this drop off regression and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? That's not the case here.
No. Here's what's the case. It's the same thing we talked about weeks ago before he blew a save. It's not his total innings pitched. It's not his performance level. It's his usage back to back. It's specifically being used a second or third consecutive day. Okay? We gave you the numbers before, a few weeks ago. Refresher course. If you give Robert Suarez a day off this year, if he's pitching coming off a day's rest, his opponent OPS allowed is 404. Okay? 404. Break it down. 174 average he allows. On base, 208. Slugging, non-existent, 196. He gives up a single here or there if you give him a day's rest. His ERA with a day's rest, 1.42. His ERA with 2 days rest, 1.42. His ERA with 3 or more days rest, no ERA, 0. When you pitch him back to back, on that second or third day, his ERA is 4.86. When you pitch him back to back, he's given up 17 hits in 16 2/3 innings, walking 5 and only striking out 11, and he's given up 3 homers in those 16 2/3 innings. The OPS allowed, remember, with 1 day, 400. With no day's rest, 749. 749, including a 439 slugging percentage. Almost all the doubles and homers he's allowed this year have been pitching the second or third day of a back-to-back. So, does it mean you can never throw Suarez back-to-back? Of course not. Just like we could do it again if I needed to. Scott's numbers are very similar. When there's a day's rest, nothing happens. He shuts you out. When he goes back-to-back, he walks guys and he gives up some hits. So it's natural, and it's happened all year. But the thing was, last night, Annie, it happened in a loud way. It didn't happen in a quiet way where he gave up 2 hits, or he gave up a run when he was up 3. Last night, it happened in a loud way.
That's the other thing I was going to say. I think they were fine with him giving up a run. Give up a run. Give up 2. I think that was kind of the mentality there is like, yeah, he might do that, but we're okay with that because, he again, he needed one more strike to get out of that. And maybe the probability too against this Tigers team, which not been terrible, right? It's not been great. It's not been terrible.
They're a good team.
Maybe they're a good team looking at that going, you've got your number 9 hitter up. And I don't know how many grand slams he has, but
I think 0.
Okay,
that was
there
like his
is some
6th homer
kind
the
of
whole year. Yeah.
baseball probability happening here, and so, I think when they get right, if you're looking at those numbers, maybe for playoffs or something, maybe you would operate in that hope, I guess that or not more than hope, right? But that you're not giving a guy back to back to back, but you should have more options in those short series or the ability to use guys in different ways where maybe you're not needing to tax a guy on repeated nights.
Yeah, but keep in mind, the wild card series will be back to back to back.
That's true.
It'll be on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And the absolute temptation for Mike Schilt is going to be to pitch that ASS, Adam Scott Suarez, back to back to back, and to pitch him all 3 games. And I'm not saying that that's not what we wouldn't all do in a clutch situation. You want your best guys out there. But the numbers are clear as day. There's no haziness. There's no fuzzy math. It's clear. If you can find that rest day, you turn these relievers from shaky to dominant. So what does that mean? What could they do in the next 20 games? Is there an ability to say as a coaching staff, tonight we're working towards Scott, and this is Scott's night, and Suarez isn't going to pitch, and Scott's going to be our closer tonight. Tomorrow we're working towards Suarez, and Scott's not going to pitch. And yeah, we're taking the ASS down to ANS, but maybe we put in Morahone. Maybe we put in Estrada. Maybe we use some of the other guys that have been reliable back-end relievers for this team the whole season long and give these 2 guys the opportunity to be at their best and at their freshest. Understanding you can't do it all the time.
Yeah.
But I just think that's the one thing that out there in the fan base, you guys need to understand instead of like, well, Suarez sucks now, so he's got to go, or he was good, now he's bad. No, it's been the same the whole time. Give him a little bit of a break, and he's as dominant as it comes. But if you ride him, then he's going to wear down.
Yeah, he pitched, remember, 4 in the last 5 days, 4 of the last 5 games. 4 of the last 5 days, right?
Yeah.
Games? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they had an off day.
They had one off day. Yeah.
Right. I think, too, the other thing is, because the numbers, I think, are really illustrative of the fact that, he's right there in the mix with what the top closers in the league are doing. But there is a feel thing, too. There's got to be on the other side, which I know Mike Schilt is big on this, and so is Ruben Niebla, the feel of how's he responding? How's he doing? What kind of what kind of things are they not seeing on the paper, right? That is going to help them determine how they can use these guys and ride them and who can be really kind of, used multiple times, right? Because you're going through, Jason Adam also pitched 4 of the last 5 days. Tanner Scott pitched 4 of the last 5 days. And the numbers tell you Tanner Scott should be giving it up left and right, but he's been relatively fine.
Right, yeah. Now, you can look, and usually when he's pitched back-to-back, somebody's reached base during his outing. But again, somebody was reaching base during Robert's outings when he was going back-to-back, but the big bomb didn't come, so it was a lot less recognizable. Now a big bomb comes, so everybody overreacts because they saw the big bomb. But the underlying trend has been consistent all season, just like Mike Schilt's usage pattern has been consistent all season, leaning toward that overuse, leaning toward riding guys as opposed to being really balanced and being really gentle and careful. He's not been that. He's been an aggressive user of the bullpen all year.
And he said, I think it was, was it both Ben and Woods? Was it maybe last week that he said this is the time when everyone should be wanting to take the ball and wanting to play? Like his kind of look at, of course, they're looking at player safety and everything like that, but this is kind of go time. You're in the stretch here where it's like all hands on deck, everybody, and that works in some ways, and we'll find out. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because would they be to the point they're at if he hadn't done that? Would they have the amount of games that they have won if he hadn't done that? We don't know. You know, maybe they would. Maybe they would. You know, maybe they would still have that using other guys in the pen, and maybe they would have it if they had gone with someone else last night. They would. They maybe. You know, I think it's just hard to know exactly how all of that would have folded out. But
of course, right? No, I mean. That's why we're saying he's been consistent the whole time. You have a strategy, you have a process, you use it. This is the downside risk of that strategy. Sometimes you're going to ride a guy. He's going to be tired. You're going to put him out there at less than his full effectiveness. He will lose his command. And the next thing you know, the game is lost as a result. It doesn't mean that everything you did leading up to that moment was wrong. It means that it's the byproduct of the strategy you create. You know, just like just like if Braden went with a two-man defensive line and 6 defensive backs, he's never going to give up a third down and 15 reception, but his team is going to be vulnerable to rushing yards, right? There's always a give and take in the process and the strategy you use.
for sure.
That was my little football analogy for you.
Yeah, it was pretty close. Yes,
And you have to pick your poison on some of that. You have to pick your poison, right?
You definitely have to get, like, when we blitz, we're giving up. You know, we got to man up. If you decide to blitz, and you can't run a zone anymore. You got to be able to man up. And if they run a quick slant, that's what you're giving up if you don't play your defense properly. So you could blitz the house as much as you want, but if you can't cover downfield, you're going to be in trouble. Same thing with, gap assignments. Like the best one all the time is you want to double team Travis Kelce. That's great, but you're losing somebody that's got a gap or you're losing a coverage spot. You have to give something up to be able to do some of those things.
Right. And the thing that the Padres have given up is they've tired their relievers. And what they haven't given up is a lot of blown saves because they've kept these guys in.
Like, remember, between the Joe Musgrove starts, nobody got past the 5th inning. Now, I don't remember enough to go back and look and be like, should Schilt have left them in for another 6th inning? Or was that game, was the pitcher tired? Were they already at 100 pitches? You'd have to look at all of that and see, what was the best decision there. But they had to go to the bullpen a lot, and again, the offense says it all the time. We love to score a lot because it saves our bullpen. So we're going to find out. I mean, this is what's going to get real interesting because I feel like every team has their Achilles heel, their trade-off. What is their trade-off, you know? And that is going to be, I think, a separator, depending on what goes well or not, right, in this last month, getting into the playoffs, but then also in the playoffs. Like, what did you sacrifice to have this, and then does it come back, or doesn't it?
When we come back, a quick segment to update you on the race, and then we've got Mark Willard joining us from San Francisco to preview the Giants. So we got a lot of fun for you here on the Padres Deep Dive Hour. Stay right there on 97.3 The Fan. The Padres Deep Dive Hour is brought to you by Frozen Ropes, baseball and softball training facilities. Now introducing the Freezy Batting Cage membership for just $79 a month. For more information, visit SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com. Be catching up with Mark Willard from 95.7 The Game in a little bit. Quick update on the hunt for October, because yesterday has to be looked at as a missed opportunity day as opposed to a painful day for the Padres. Arizona lost and Atlanta lost yesterday. New York did not play. So the Padres are 80-62. Arizona is 79-62. They've got a game in hand, and they're a half game back. Atlanta and New York are both 76-64, and they are 3 games behind San Diego, each of them. Chicago is 4 games behind the Mets at 4 games over 500. The Cardinals are 5 games behind the Mets at 2 games over 500. And both of those teams are in the exact same spot. They have to have a 10-game winning streak. And if they did have a 10-game winning streak, we could talk about them. But anything literally short of that, and they won't be able to, they'll run out of time before they can get in.
Only so many games left.
That's exactly right. Just like there's only so many games left in the West, where L.A. idle 84-56, San Diego 80-62. That's a 5-game drop. It's also a 6-game gap in the loss column, which is really what you got to look at the end of the year, because that's the permanence. You can get more wins, but those losses sting. So, I don't worry about the West like I haven't the whole time. What I'm looking at is the Braves and the Mets, because both of them need to pass us in order for the Padres to miss the playoffs. And the Braves don't have the tiebreaker against San Diego, but the Mets do. Mm-hmm. So the Mets just need to finish with our schedule, or with our record, while the Braves would have to finish a game ahead. The next week could be scary, but if the Padres are in good position at the end of next week and are still ahead of those 2 teams by multiple games, then I love our chances to get to the end on top. Here's why. Atlanta this weekend hosts Toronto. Stinky bad team. Then they go to Washington for 2 games. Not good. Meanwhile, that same time, the Mets will host Cincinnati and then go to Toronto. So both of them are playing losing teams back-to-back while we play the Giants, and then when we go on to play the Mariners next weekend. Then things get tougher. Atlanta will then face L.A. for 4, go to Cincinnati for 3, and Miami for 3. Those are easy. But they will end the year with 3 against the Mets and 3 against the Royals. The Mets will go to Philly for 3, host Washington for 3, then play Philly again for 3 more before going to Atlanta and finishing at Milwaukee. So that finish, Philly, Washington, Philly, Atlanta, Milwaukee. That's a rough go for the Mets to be red hot down the stretch.
Yeah. I think maybe you get a little ability to maybe have them stumble a little bit, right?
That's the idea. What I'm looking at right now, these next 5 series for San Diego, going to the final week before they've got at Dodgers, at Diamondbacks. The goal is to make that week as unimportant as possible, right? The goal is to do enough work now. Beat the Giants. Beat the flailing Mariners. Beat the Giants again. If you can get through those 8 games, find 5 or 6 wins out of those 8 remaining games. I had asked for 8-2 going through Detroit, San Francisco, Seattle, San Francisco. It's not impossible. Dropping that game last night means you got to pick up a game somewhere along the way. But if you do that, you're going to be in the catbird seat. It's only if you struggle in these 3 series and let San Francisco get you for a series, continue to struggle against the Mariners, that's when you're really going to give Atlanta and New York hope, because they might catch or even pass you. If you do that, they're playing nothing but lousy teams for 2 weeks, but then they play almost nothing but good teams down the stretch. And that's hopefully where things even out for San Diego.
I mean, they're going to be fighting with the Braves, their second to last series, right? 3 at Atlanta. That's going to be a big one if everything stays the same or close to the same. But they've got 6 against the Phillies. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. I mean, and again, all things considered, we don't want this But if you make the 6th seed, guess where the National League champion has come from the last 2 years? The 6th seed. So I'm not going to panic if the Padres finish in the 6th seed. It's not easy, but they can absolutely get the job done. But in order for them to go to 7, both Atlanta and New York have to pass you. So the idea is even if things get a little wrong, that series, one team knocks the other one out. In that Mets-Atlanta series, one of them knocks the other one out. That's the idea. So it still looks really good on the Hunt for October page. Let's take our time out, and when we come back, Mark Willard joins us from San Francisco, hopefully to tell us a lot of things that get us very much hyped up to beat the Giants this weekend. We'll find out when we return on the Padres Deep Dive Hour here within Annie and Elsten on 97.3 The Fan. 11:40 on the Fan. It's Andy and Elsten reminding you to listen to Sam Levitt's podcast, Inside San Diego Baseball, where Sam covers everything going on with the Padres. You can find it at 973thefansd.com, the Odyssey app, or wherever you get your podcasts. All right.
I've gotten a voicemail twice.
Got it. All right, no Mark Willard yet.
Third time's the charm.
About Martin Perez. He did a good job last night.
Boy, he was solid.
6 1/3 scoreless. Cruised mostly.
I had written a line in yesterday's Picking Nits segment that it would be really nice to see him have a good start because the last 3 had been pretty not good, and that was really good.
Yeah.
He was sharp. He was efficient. And as we discussed on the roundtable, there's really no path with a full health team to Perez probably even getting on a postseason roster. It would be very difficult. But nonetheless, he's done the job. Here's what I was thinking about, Annie. It was just about 6 weeks ago that those were Adam Mazur starts. Those were games when the Padres were just, you came in knowing by the 3rd inning, 4th, 5th inning, if you're lucky, 4 or 5 runs allowed. Very rarely, other than his first start, did Mazur ever really give the team a chance when he was out there. And you replaced that with a guy who has straight up given the team a chance every single time he's gone out there.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought it was great to see Profar with a really nice at-bat for that home run. Jake Cronenworth with a double, and then Bogarts had a home run too. So it was good to see them get going. But again, unfortunately, just not enough for them yesterday. Yeah.
Perez, honestly has picked up the mojo from Waldron. Like right when Waldron dropped his mojo and he couldn't get anybody out, here comes Perez. Snap. There's that starter that can get guys out, that can get you deep into games, that can take care of business. He's gotten a decent amount of run support so far this year as well, but he's also had a couple of games like last night where he's had to pitch with a very tight lead at home, and he's gotten the job done. And hopefully that Perez-Diaz, sync up there, the Venezuelan simpatico, maybe helps them for the final 2-3 Perez starts this year.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Good stuff, Martin Perez.
I think we have Mark.
We do not.
Oh, we don't.
No,
then
that was
never mind.
the- that was a thumbs
I was
down.
not talking to let that happen. Yes, I agree. I think Diaz, it was a good get to know you battery yesterday, right? It's interesting. I don't think they had any experience with each other before, but they quickly got up to speed, and he was, veteran guy, pointed out that he really likes working with Higgy and Campy as well, but it worked out well for them yesterday, and he said, Elias Diaz is someone who he believes anyways, Martin Perez said this, is someone who can really help this team down the stretch. So it's going to be interesting to see how they use these guys. We haven't heard anything, of course, and we won't, that is probably specific to their usage. We're just going to have to wait and see how we see it.
Now, the Giants coming to town, certainly not in it in any way, shape, or form. 69-72. They've lost 7 of their last 10. They're pretty much dropping the rope right now. They're a team that's in the process of giving up, to the point where they'll get eliminated, and then young guys will come up, and the rest of it will happen. However, one guy's going to stick around. Matt Chapman and the Giants yesterday agreed to a 6-year, $151 million contract extension that'll lock him in through 2030, starting next year. He plays on his current deal this year, and then the new contract takes over next year. And some of what I read about this was really that Chapman was the person pushing for this deal to be made. Not that the Giants didn't want to lock him up, but as a departure from what he did last year as a Boris client, waiting till the bitter end, getting a free agent spring training deal with San Francisco, he wanted to get locked in for good.
Yeah, and it's a smart move, I think, for him. Boris clients typically do that during the season. Boris likes to wait for free agency or the offseason to get things done and get the most money. Definitely did not go that way last year. And this is a guy who I believe, from what I read, really loves San Francisco, loves his comfort level with the Giants. And so why not just get it done, right? And he's been good for them, really, good player, obviously, but team high 22 home runs this year, hitting 247, 333 on base percentage. Pretty consistent player for them this year, for sure.
Speaking of these Giants, And, Mark, if you're not here to talk about him, we'll talk about him nonetheless. We can do it too. We just thought it'd be cool to have you on. There are some names that were not even involved with this team at all the last times we saw them that are key players now for the San Francisco Giants. Start in center field. Elio Ramos wasn't on the team when we saw them. He wasn't on the team for the first two series. He's appeared in 101 games. His OPS is .815, second on the team to the next guy we'll talk about. 274 average, 20 homers, 67 RBI on the season. Ramos has played a pretty decent center field, but the 24-year-old came up to the minors, and he's really been kind of their offensive engine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, never really knew much about him, obviously, but he's been good for them this year.
And then there's Tyler Fitzgerald. You know even less about Tyler Fitzgerald, Annie. 26-year-old rookie, has only appeared in 78 games. In a different world, he'd be fighting for Rookie of the Year, and I think he'll still finish probably top 5 in Rookie of the Year this year because he's come up, and in 250 at-bats, he has 14 homers, 17 steals, and a .300 average with a .353 on-base percentage. He's actually been dynamite for the Giants.
Going to be interesting for the Giants. You see a lot of discourse about their front office, Farhan Zaidi, certainly some about Bob Melvin that we've seen this year. And I also saw yesterday Susan Slusser saying that because Matt Chapman signed with the Giants, he's already getting texts that people will come over to the team or are interested in being part of the team. And
of course they are.
So, who knows? Maybe that having that extension and being able to put roots there long term gets a player or two.
Well, let's ask Mark Willard about it. He joins us from our sister station up in San Francisco, 95.7 The Game, for a few minutes here. Mark, Craig Elsten, Annie Heilbrunn down in San Diego. Appreciate you giving us a couple.
It's great to be with you and great to hear those names again. How you guys doing?
Doing well. I know you've got plenty of San Diego roots, SoCal roots as well. Up there now with the game, Mark. State of the Giants. It feels like this has had to have been very similar to what we dealt with last year, an agonizing year of expectations and drifting around 500.
Well, I'll tell you why it's actually even worse than that, because you dealt with it last year, but you know what you had while you were dealing with all that is really cool, good players. And that's what the Giants don't have. And so the state of the Giants, if I give it to you through the eyes of the fan right now, it is probably as angry as I have seen the fan base probably in my entire life, and I'm going to turn 50 soon. Now, maybe that was because I wasn't aware of how things felt in the 80s or whatever when they were really bad. But obviously this franchise has set a bar for itself starting about 10 to 12 years ago. And now you had a new regime come in post Bruce Bochy, and they were doing things in a very different way. And the analytics really starting to take over. And then it looked for a minute like it was really, really something that was genius in 2021 when they won 107 games. And they've pretty much been a steady nothing more than 500 team since then. And this year, when you add in a big payroll, there were some expectations and a drumbeat of, hey, this better look better. And it really didn't. And so you've got a team now that is kind of on the down low, making moves up that are more about finances than winning. The Matt Chapman thing is a good start. It's great that somebody who has some name value and is a good player wants to stay. But the team is really stuck right now, especially with offensive players. They need some fresh blood. They need some of their young farm players to really start to work out, and it just hasn't quite happened yet.
Mark, how has Bob Melvin been received? What kind of job has he done there? And since we're a little short on time, if you can work in how Farhan Zaidi is standing within the organization right now, that'd be great too.
No doubt. So Bob Melvin was received really well, and then it has not gone as well. I don't think it's been a great year for him as a manager. And now people are starting to look at you guys, actually, and go, wait a minute, why are they better this year after Bo Mel left? Now, it'd be interesting to get your responses on that. But his decisions with the bullpen and whatnot have not been great. He's been a little too reactive, I think, at times. Sometimes when one thing doesn't work on one night, he does the exact opposite the next night instead of sticking with things. So it's been a little bit of a difficult, bumpy run for his first year, but it's only his first year. So I think he's still got a little bit of slack there. Farhan I does not have a whole lot of fans in the area right now. That's as blunt as I can be. I think some of it is fair, some of it is not fair. But the bottom line is he's the president and he's the face of a third unsuccessful year in a row. And so he does not have a lot of patience right now amongst the fan base. But we'll see what the ownership is feeling. We really don't know that yet.
Blake Snell is someone we're so familiar with down here. And when he signed late, to be honest, Mark, we said right then it's going to be a bad go for the team that signs him that late because you're going to get an entire first half of mess. And obviously, he didn't win a game in the first half for the San Francisco Giants. Now he's pitched a no-hitter. He's pitched a lot better yesterday, notwithstanding. What does it look like in terms of Blake Snell and any possible future in San Francisco?
I think the Giants would be very open to it. Obviously, they've got a good thing going with Scott Boras somehow because Matt Chapman is his as well. And the fact that he signed early in September is crazy. So they've got something going there. I do think Blake has liked it here, but he has certainly pitched in the second half in a way that's going to allow him to opt out and be a free agent, and no doubt an expensive one. The Giants play in a ballpark that needs to be built on pitching and defense. I'm sure they're very, very interested in that, but they're going to have to put their resources, as I was saying, see my previous answer, they've got a lot of things that they need to do with whatever resources they have. So are they going to be open to a multi-year break-the-bank kind of a deal for Blake Snell? This is just my gut feeling. I would put it at less than 50-50 that he's back with the Giants next year.
Oh. And, Mark, I mean, the Padres and the Giants play 6 of the next 8 games, right? So what would you look for in this series? Like, what do you think is going to be the defining factor in terms of whether or not the Giants can squeak out wins? What has been the separator for them?
Well, I mean, the Giants right now have kind of turned a few positions over to young players, and they're in that mode of, like, let's see what people have. And right now, some of it is a little wobbly. You may see a guy by the name of Marco Luciano playing over at second base, and that's like their top prospect over the last 3 or 4 years, and he's come up to the big leagues, and it turns out he can't catch. And it's pretty unsettling to everybody. They moved him from shortstop to second base, and the first night they did it, he made 2 errors. So I don't know that the Giants are in the same mode that the Padres are in terms of the intensity that they're going to be bringing for winning baseball games. But they've still got, obviously, a very, very capable pitching staff and a bullpen that's starting to come into play. So that's how the Giants have a chance to win games, especially against the Padres. If they're able to keep these down to the 4-3 and 3-2 type baseball games, they can win a few of those. If the Padres get to 5 runs, you guys are going to get one in the win column on that particular night, most likely.
Mark, it is great to hear your voice. Very refreshing to hear it once again back down here in SoCal, and we appreciate you giving us a few minutes here, and we will wish your Giants the best a couple of weeks from now.
Well, listen, you know what happens to a Giants fan when they don't make the playoffs? They root against the Dodgers. So go Padres. And I miss you guys and love the city so much. And, best of luck the rest of the way.
Miss you too, Mark. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. We'll chat with you down the road, Mark. Maybe some Niners talk down in the winter.
Yes.
Appreciate you. Mark Willard joining us from 95.7 The Game, sister station up in San Francisco, part of our Odyssey family.
We didn't have a ton of time, but he got it in. He
did.
hit on all the big points.
Well, that's why you get a radio professional.
Exactly.
Hey, I've only got 9 minutes, but now it is 9 microwave, concentrated minutes.
Got all the points in that they needed to. I thought, interesting point. They've already been calling up some of the young guys. They probably are not going to play at that same got to make the postseason intensity that the Padres are playing with right now. But still, a team that you don't want to overlook for sure. And going to be interesting for that Giants organization, what they do. I mean, look at how much kind of doom and gloom has been around this Padres talk.
Yeah.
And then you hear that and you're like, ooh, they have a lot to figure out over there.
They certainly do. And just to answer in the minute here, in 30 seconds in the chat, how will Matt Chapman's contract affect Jurickson Profar? Not at all. not in any way, shape, or form. Chapman's defense is so far and above. He's generated 6 WAR this year and 37 in his career. Jurickson's generated 3 this year and 8 in his entire career. So don't worry about that. We'll be able to sign Profar for less than $25 million a year. I am confident. Sports Fix is next. It's 12 o'clock. It's Friday. It's hot as you know what outside.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you doing still working? Come on now.
At least getting some air conditioning.
Yeah. Whatever you're doing, wherever you're doing it. Let's admit that you're about ready to slack off and have your mind completely and 100% tuned in to the weekend that will be and to the fun you might have and to your various strategies to stay cool and to stay hydrated and to make this a great weekend in America's finest city. So, ignore all the other outside stuff. Tell the boss, get out of here, man. It's time to listen to The Fix. Here we go with your weekend preview. What's going on? What's happening? Football, baseball, and everything else. It's your 12 o'clock sports fix, and he's got the baseball news to get you started.
Let's start over there with the Orioles, who announced yesterday that they've selected the contract of outfielder Nick Maton. To make room for Maton, catcher David Benuelos was designated for assignment. Maton is the younger brother of New York Mets pitcher and old friend Phil Maton.
There we go.
That's why I like that little nugget. Okay. The Mariners' second half collapse led to a managerial change, but it doesn't seem it'll cause a shakeup at the top of the front office. The Seattle Times reported yesterday that Mariners ownership decided earlier this summer to retain President of Baseball Operations Jerry Dipoto. So at least as of now, he lives on, they are reporting. The Pirates announced yesterday that left-hander Joey Wentz, whom they claimed off waivers earlier this week, has been added to the active roster. Right-hander Domingo Germán has been designated for assignment as the corresponding move. The Padres won the series against the Tigers, but they lost yesterday's game 4-3. That's right, 4-3, right? After a blown save by Robert Suarez, his fourth of the season. Today they start a 3-game set against Bob Melvin's Giants. It'll be Michael King for the Padres and Mason Black for the Giants. First pitch, 6:40 p.m. at Petco Park. And remember, this one is on Apple TV, but you can always listen to Jesse and Tony either by the settings on the broadcast or right here on 97.3 The Fan.
Yeah. Apple TV, love the camera work, though.
Did I hear Apple TV is also Sunday?
Really?
I think I heard that on the morning show coming in. I think maybe the only...
They've only done Fridays. When have they ever done Sundays?
Oh, wait. Maybe Sunday is a different one?
Could
Sunday...
it be Roku? Could Sunday be Roku?
I should know this. Oh, Melanie knows. Melanie knows. No, Melanie says no. I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't listen to me. That's not the case.
Cut that for the promo. And now here's Braden with baseball scores.
Good stuff.
It's the truth.
It is.
Oh.
Melanie says Sunday is a regular MLB
Well,
game.
thank goodness.
Thank you. It's wonderful to have a stage manager in our chat who can set that straight.
Will Mike Winters be there? Don't answer that. Here's Braden with the scores.
I saw your tweet last night. MLB scores from yesterday. Weird, like the Padre game just ended with 8 in the ninth inning, in the top half of the ninth inning. I don't know what happened to that game. Reds beat the Astros 1-0. Twins over the Rays 4-3. Pirates outlast the Nationals 9-4. Giants helping out the Pods with a 3-2 victory against the Diamondbacks. Again, weird. The Padre game there's no score yesterday. Mariners over the Athletics 6-4. Phillies beat the Fish 5-2. Rockies over the Braves 3-1, and the Rangers beat the Angels 3-1. Not as many games on a Thursday night. There is a game going on right now. The New York Yankees have a 1-0 lead on the Chicago Cubs in the top half of the third inning. Murphy's Bar out behind the bleachers at Wrigley Field love to put up a different sign on the marquee because the opposing team drives past Murphy's to get to the visiting clubhouse, and the one that they put up was Anthony Rizzo prefers deep dish pizza as Anthony Rizzo returns to Wrigley Field for the first time. He got a big standing ovation. Pretty big moment for Anthony Rizzo. It was just him out on the field by himself. in front of a sold-out Wrigley Field on a day game on a Friday, so that was pretty cool. Yankees have now taken a 3-0 lead over the Chicago Cubs, top half of 3. And that's it for baseball. I'll be back with football in just a little bit.
All right, but first, I've got your soccer story. I do have a Alex Morgan soundbite in here, Braden, to pull up. As yesterday, Alex Morgan announced her impending retirement from soccer. One final match this Sunday at Snapdragon Stadium, and then she's hanging up the boots for good. This morning, the 35-year-old global icon held a press conference at the Snap to discuss her career and future. Morgan said San Diego has proven itself forevermore, not just a great sports town, but a great football town as well.
The fact that you look in this room and see all my teammates, these are some of the best players in the world. You look out and see the fans, these are some of the best fans in the world, and I don't think that any other team is pulling in numbers like this week in and week out. You see what we've been able to build, the amount of trophies that we've been able to accumulate, from the Challenge Cup this year to the Shield last year to making playoffs in our first year. I don't know that a club in their first 3 years, first 2.5 years, have been able to accomplish what this club has been able to accomplish in such a short period of time. So with that, I'm very, very proud of the part that I've played in that. And I want that spotlight to continue on San Diego because I just think it's continuing to go up from here, regardless of, this season that we've had thus far. This club is doing things the right way. These players are so passionate about playing here like I am. And there's just a lot of like-minded people here at this organization. And that's why I'm so proud to play here. I'm so proud to be a fan here long after my playing career, year after year. Like, I will be here in these stands cheering for these women play their hearts out every weekend.
Yeah, Morgan's family has made San Diego their home. They did that before she signed with the Wave. Her second child is on the way now. Her final match in pro soccer will be Sunday at 5 p.m. when the Wave take on NC Courage. Wave announced the lower bowl is all but sold out. Upper bowl going fast for Alex Morgan's final game. Morgan also mentioned during the press conference that she sees her future as an investor in women's sports. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever she sets her mind to, she does. Congrats to Alex Morgan. I mean, what a career. It's so fun. I mean, it's really nice to hear her talk and understand just the depth of the moment.
Yes.
And then what her future could hold. Who knows what she does?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be big. She's moving to mogul status.
She's only 35.
Yeah, 35 years old, about to become mother of 2 and now a mogul within the world of women's sports. Incredible
Good for
stuff.
her.
Absolutely. And Sunday will be a very special night in San Diego sports history. Meanwhile, the ultimate underdog story took place yesterday in the world of international soccer. This is the ultimate. Let's introduce you to the country of San Marino. San Marino is the 5th smallest country in the world. It is located in a mountainous region of northern Italy, located entirely inside Italy. Can't get to San Marino without driving through Italy. They have a complete population of 33,000, and the entire country is just over 20 square miles in size. So, like Mission Valley, kind of.
Okay.
Is San Marino. San Marino is the worst national team in the world. They are ranked 210th and last by FIFA. Rankings only go to 210. And they have never won a match in the country's history. Until yesterday.
They've never won ever?
Ever. Never won. Until San Marino took down Liechtenstein.
Isn't Liechtenstein one of those countries too?
Yes, they're 199th ranked in the world.
But they're like
one of the
totally,
smallest in the world. Yes,
surrounded by a different country. Right?
yes, they are. I got to look up which one. Probably Germany. Maybe Switzerland.
I forget how to spell Liechtenstein.
Nico Sensoli. Nico Sensoli will never buy a meal in San Marino again which is cool because there's like 3 restaurants. But he'll never buy a meal in San Marino again after netting a goal in the 53rd minute, leading San Marino over Liechtenstein 1-0 in the UEFA Nations League. Take that, Liechtenstein.
They're not. They're surrounded by Switzerland and Austria.
There we go. The women's final in the U.S. Open is set. Tomorrow it'll be American and 6th seed Jessica Pegula facing number 2 seed Arina Sabalenka for the championship. The men's semifinals will be played tonight. Americans Taylor Fritz and Francis Tiafoe will face one another, while world number 1 Yannick Sinner takes on the UK's Jack Draper. Those are all the other sports. Let's go back to Braden for high school, college, pro football.
A lot of football to break down, especially on a Friday. Let's start with the prep football for you. Got some big games throughout San Diego County, as I mentioned on America's Finest Football Show, which you can hear on Monday nights on the radio at 10 and on YouTube at 7 most Thursdays. Talked about all of these games, but the big games for San Diego County. Lincoln's going to be in Vegas taking on Coronado of Las Vegas, not the Coronado Islanders. That game will be at 6 o'clock Pacific time. 1-1 Hornets, 2-0 Coronado. Cal Preps has Lincoln as a favorite in this one. They're expected to win 56-27. Mount Miguel is at La Jolla Country Day tonight at 7 o'clock. Mount Miguel expected to win by 10. Modern Day Catholic is up at San Marcos. It's another tough game for the Crusaders as they have taken on 2 of the top 3 teams in the county and will play yet another top 10 team in the county in the San Marcos Knights, who are trying to look to improve to 3-0 on the year. San Marcos expected to win by 13. Madison Warhawks at the La Jolla Vikings at 7 o'clock. La Jolla expected to win 31-17 over the Warhawks. RB is at Point Loma at 7 o'clock tonight. Rancho Bernardo is expected to win by 23 points over the Pointers. It'll be a tough task for the Pointers tonight. By the way, they do have lights now permanently. They did that a couple of years ago. So no more 3 o'clock day games at Point Loma for the varsity team.
Very
thank
nice.
goodness.
It's one of the I always thought Point Loma should have the remember the Moonlight Theater where like the plane flies over and everybody pauses? With all the planes flying over, they should just pause action and then wait.
Everybody stand like a
then go.
sim.
Yeah, exactly.
Then like a
But only at Point
air
Loma.
horn blows and then they could go resume again.
The prep time during the week. All right, guys, we're at Point Loma. Remember the rules? Anytime the plane flies over, we got to stop. It's going to be weird, but we got to stop. San Clemente is at La Costa Canyon. That'll be a pretty good game up in the North County. LCC had the big win last week against Del Norte. San Clemente of the southern section always does really well. The Fighting Sam Darnolds coming to town. Helix is at St. Augustine. Both teams trying to find their first win of the season. That game will be at Mesa College at 7 o'clock. Helix is projected to win by 9. Mission Hills at Oceanside is a big game in the North County. 7 o'clock start up at Oceanside. Mission Hills is projected to win that game. Mountain Point at Cathedral Catholic at 7:30, a later time due to it being the Honor Bowl at Cathedral this weekend. Mountain Point out of Arizona have a safety that's one of the best in the country, getting looked at by Washington, and Alabama really wants him as well. The cornerback is committed to San Diego State, so some local Saturday players in this game for Mountain Point and Cathedral. If you're an Aztec fan, always a great time at the Honor Bowl. That is a look at the high school games. On Saturday, we got some great college football games. We'll only mention the ranked ones. Tennessee will play NC State in Charlotte, North Carolina at 4:30 on ABC. That's a big game between the 14th ranked Volunteers and the 24th ranked NC State Wolfpack. Texas is at the Big House to take on Michigan. Texas 7-point favorite on the road against number 10 Michigan as the Longhorns come in at number 3 in the country. Old Southwest, Oklahoma State was not in the Southwest Conference. Arkansas is at Oklahoma State. Kansas State goes to Tulane for some revenge. Tulane beat the Wildcats a couple of years ago in this matchup. That will be at 9 a.m. on ESPN. Baylor's at Utah for Big 12 action. That doesn't count as a Big 12 game because it was scheduled before they joined their conferences. So that's fun. You're going to play a team in the Big 12, but it doesn't count in the Big 12 standings. It's a non-conference game. And then, of course, the great battle for corn for the Cy-Hawk Trophy. Iowa State is at Iowa at 12:30.
Let's go.
On Saturday. Houston
That'll be a barn burner, and by that I mean someone's barn will burn within Iowa.
That's right. Boise State at
Corn
Oregon
will transpire.
is a good game. Utah State will play USC. That will be the nightcap. Of course, the San Diego State Aztecs play host to the Oregon State Beavers 7:30 tomorrow. And for the other local college playing, USD will host Central Washington on at 1 o'clock. So that is the local flair to that. NFL news for you. Jamar Chase might play without a deal, but, quote, it's my decision. Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase said he will be a game-time decision for Sunday's season opener against the Patriots amid what he called an aggravating contract dispute. Chase broke his silence Friday and said he would be willing to play this season if the two sides cannot agree to an extension, but whether he steps on the new turf at Paycor Stadium on Sunday will be up to him. Quote, it's my decision, said Chase, whom the Bengals listed as questionable to play. Chase isn't the only Bengals wide receiver who could be out Sunday. T. Higgins has been listed as doubtful after he suffered a hamstring injury on Thursday. Notable to all you fantasy owners out there. A couple of contracts got signed. Pat Freiermuth and the Steelers agreed to a 4-year, $48.4 million deal. And down in Miami, the Miami Dolphins make Jalen Ramsey NFL's highest-paid cornerback, giving him a 3-year contract extension worth $24.1 million a year, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, making Ramsey the highest-paid cornerback in NFL history for a second time in his career. Of course, NFL Sunday will be fun. We'll talk about our beloved Lions.
Yes.
In just a little bit.
And I saw that for SDSU, bummer, their left tackle injured, I think, out for the season.
Which is never good.
Never good, especially your left tackle. Like, that's
Yeah.
very important. Yeah, out for the season. Joe Borhan, very important role.
Yeah, for a freshman quarterback,
Yeah.
too, a true freshman. That's your security blanket, your left
Yeah.
tackle there. Dang.
Other news for you. Padres putting this out almost like they've been listening to our show about where to tune in for the games this weekend on
Oh,
television,
great.
since there's been confusion. Friday is Apple TV Plus. Saturday and Sunday, your regular Padres.
Yes.
.tv.
I don't know why. I see in the
Padres.tv.
chat, people are saying that on ESPN app, it lists Apple as a Sunday game too. So there's just been some confusion based on
Yeah.
people seeing it and like being like, what the heck?
I'm
Well, you
sure ESPN was like, they probably screwed up the thing, but it's like,
Yeah.
it's not on our network, so who cares?
Right.
The Padres said it straight. So Apple TV Plus today, regular MLB tomorrow and Sunday.
Yes, and ESPN, we're talking about the same company that is using AI to write game recaps now.
Oh,
So-
don't do it.
So maybe just the computer got it wrong today, seeing as human beings are being de-emphasized in favor of the computer.
It is listed as Apple TV Plus on their website, so I can see where the confusion
Yes.
is. But no,
Understand,
it is
but-
only on Friday.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I don't
fine,
even think
ESPN.
Apple TV Plus does the Sunday games.
No, you're right. They only do Fridays.
Who does the Sunday? Who does those early morning Sundays now? Is it Amazon? Who took over for Peacock? I can't-
Roku.
Roku.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
But
no
they
one
already
watches.
had their Roku game.
Yeah,
They do.
Roku is Rays and Orioles on Sunday for anybody that cares.
Okay. Well,
At
see,
9 in the
that's if
morning.
you'd like to tune in at 9 in the morning, there you go.
You could tell me how that goes.
Right. Padres play at their normal 1:10 time.
Media Melanie would definitely be the one to know, seeing as she has to manage the stage on Sundays. So, like,
Yeah.
she's literally got a call time for Sunday.
She's literally like got a schedule that tells her exactly what games that she's working, and she's working Sunday for the Padres broadcast.
Indeed. When we come back,
Oh, wow. Scratch is in the chat.
yeah,
Scratch is.
Yeah, you were talking, you missed it. Yeah, Scratch is here. We're fired up. Scratch the
Who's Scratch playing
mascot.
this weekend? I
San
gotta check.
Marcos.
No, they're not. San Marcos is playing Modern Day Catholic. It was a tough loss for the Cougs last week against Madison. Maybe Scratch. Hopefully, Scratch can bounce back.
I just think that there's going to be a special place for us with Scratch because he's the only mascot that shows up in the chat. Like,
That's true.
Where's the Valhalla? Where's the Odin? You know, where's
What's Valhalla's mascot's name?
it's like Odin.
Odin?
Odin is like it's the Norseman.
Norseman?
Isn't
Odin is
Yeah, Odin's
Norseman.
the king of the Norse.
He's like the king of the Norsemen or whatever. Yeah. He's
Wow.
like, wait, hold
Thor's
on.
dad? Loki's
He's a
dad?
widely revered god
Widely
in Norse
revered?
mythology.
I'm just glad
You cross the Odin Bridge or whatever. I don't know. You cross some bridge.
God.
for a very small amount of
We were
time.
conocida.
Greg Garcia, where are you?
For a very small amount of time, the Don, not his entire costume wasn't completely transferred from uni to cathedral. It was basically just his head. And so for like when I was in high school, it was a kid wearing a PE uniform with this giant Spaniard head and no hat because they didn't know where the hat was and they didn't know where the uniform was. They just had the Uni Don's head, and on CCTV, which they would air on Friday mornings when you're in class, like the student television thing, they would do scary spoofs of the Don's head just appearing like in the theater. like saying the theater was haunted by the Dons.
That's amazing.
Mascot.
Look over your shoulder. Oh my God, he's
Since
there.
then,
I'm a
'cause
fan of that.
obviously the Dons scared a lot of people, including grown people. They have upgraded the mascot. He actually looks like a Don. He's got the full outfit and everything.
Wow.
And also, Ben talked so much about the Rainbow Bridge this morning, and but then I remembered because we crossed the Rainbow Bridge. Now that seems really dark when we graduated Valhalla, because
You
the Rainbow
did?
Bridge it takes you to the heavenly atmosphere, or whatever the gods in the heavens.
There's
So,
a different.
anyways,
Yeah. What is it?
Wow.
I'm really messed up with this now.
In Norse mythology, that is called the Bifrost Bridge. I remember that from watching Thor.
A burning
movies.
rainbow bridge that reaches between Earth and the realm of the gods.
Yes, Asgard. Yes.
Morse is going to be at Steel. So Scratch is going to deal with the Morse Tigers today.
Ooh.
By the way, also,
Tiger scratch back,
Tigers and Cougars. Oh, my. The number 1 and number 2 ranked high school teams in the country are playing each other tonight in Southern California. The Bishop Gorman Gales are taking on the Modern Day Monarchs.
Rollinson's team. Yeah.
He's not there anymore.
Oh, thank God.
He's been gone for a couple years now.
Okay, good.
It's the old Long Beach Poly coach is the new Modern Day coach. Yeah.
Really? Turncoat.
You wonder why Long Beach Poly doesn't have the athletes they used to have.
If there's one thing I hate, it's Modern Day Catholic High School in
I believe it.
Orange County. They were our absolute nemesis when I
Mission
was growing
Viejo
up.
plays Liberty.
Do you have a 100-year soccer grudge with them?
No, I'm only 52. I've got a about 36-year-old grudge with
grudge
them.
with them?
Yeah.
Modern Day has been a problem for most teams in the country for the last, I don't know, since Craig was in high school.
Yes, since I was in high school, they have been a problem.
The Trinity League is at a whole different level.
30 different years, 30 plus 40 years of
Them.
Modern Day owning the region.
That's rough.
St. John Bosco.
Adam in the chat says games are being pushed back due to the heat index.
I believe it.
I believe it too. It's going to be even hotter tomorrow.
It was hot at the coast. Honorable games are tomorrow during the day, and it's always the hottest weekend. Girls flag football is supposed to play at 1.
No chance.
Which I don't think that's going to happen. And then the
Scratch with the news.
Yeah.
my Cougars are still scheduled for 7 p.m. It gets so
but the
hot
heat out
at
here
Steel.
will make it subject to change.
Some of the hottest games I've ever played in my life are at Steel Canyon, which is brutal. And then Granite Hills plays Perry tomorrow out of Arizona at 4:30, and then Long Beach Poly plays Sarah Gardena at 7. But I'm sure those could potentially get pushed back because even though it's usually cooler at the coast, it was very warm last night.
This is just wild this weekend. And you know what? We got to take a break. But I just want to say that as a brief reminder from having traveled the state earlier this summer, and there's plenty of you out there who I'm sure have done the same, one of the things that we pay for when we pay our weather tax is for this to be our horrible day. 100.
Yes. Whenever I'm at the ballpark and I'm like, oh, it's a little warm, whatever, they're like, well, I'm from Atlanta or I'm from whatever place. And it is horrible wherever they live. Yeah.
And you know
And I'm
what?
like, oh, you know what? You're right.
And your taxes are cheaper.
Correct.
That's true.
Well, that's true.
I don't want California's taxes and Atlanta's weather. It's a lose-lose.
I mean, just about anywhere you can look, you're going to, and we're sucked into a particular heat wave right now in our region, but a whole lot of California has been 110 all summer. So us getting a couple hundred days, that's what we pay for, is for this to be the worst of it. Because most of our days are awesome. When we come back, our team is going out on the field.
Our town, our team. Oh,
Our
wait, that's
team,
Ramona.
our town, San Diego Padres and me. I
Whoa,
remember that.
whoa, whoa.
Remember
I
that?
do remember that.
2002.
Wait, was that a real?
It was a real.
I remember that.
Absolutely.
Wait, how
real.
did it go?
Our team, our town, San Diego Padres and me.
Oh, wow.
I remember that. And I remember the.
Who did the players sing it or did?
No, it was
No,
like
it was just
some
like slogan.
It wasn't
Yeah.
like
Okay,
a,
okay.
It wasn't like a McDonald's
Okay.
commercial.
It was totally like a McDonald's commercial. I wish it had Carmelo Martinez moonwalking and Tony Gwynn doing what he did, but no.
I think this clubhouse should recreate it. You know,
They literally, Annie, painted that on the foul territory. Our team, our town.
They had a Hunt for
2002.
October one time too.
How did that work out?
They didn't make the playoffs.
They didn't make it. The hunt was fruitless. Hunting permit denied.
Sometimes you do go out and you hunt, and you just don't come up with anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, when we come back, our team is taking the field against the Rams, the Annie and Elsten official NFL team, unofficially official. We're going to preview that game when we come back on The Fan. battle to determine the official, unofficially official Annie and Elsten NFL team for 2024. And that team, after a long, spirited battle where lines were drawn and decisions were made, it's the Detroit Lions. We are Lions Radio. And here we go. Rawr. Wasn't there a theme song?
There was a theme
Probably doesn't
song.
work on your messed up computer right now.
It was a bad theme song.
It was
I
not
think.
very good. It sounded like somebody recorded it at the game.
That's right. It sounded really, really hollow. Like
We need to find a
Lions
better version.
Theme
Or
song. Detroit Lions fight song with lyrics.
Detroit Lions fight song with lyrics, because we need to memorize the lyrics.
I think
Going
that was
forward.
the one that was jacked. Oh, some guy's singing it. Some guy's rapping it in a video. I don't want to play that. Here's the other one. Oh, wait, hold on. We got an ad first. Guy's got it. He's got like they sell the hard hats
Yeah.
with like the team that looks like the helmet.
Yeah,
So he's
yeah.
got a hard hat on. He's got the jersey. He's sitting there. He's rapping the Lions song. Gridiron Heroes.
Wow.
Stadium's going nuts. I'm sure the score's like 38-0. The other team.
Well, our beloved Lions theme song impending will be on NBC and Peacock. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like a weird like
Sounds
echo.
like a haunted mansion or something.
Well, it is the Lions. I can't play that.
That's
I gotta
horrible.
Find something else.
Is that recorded in the subway? Like a lot of bouncing around of the sound molecules.
I don't know, but the
there.
guy said he was collaborating with somebody else later.
Hmm.
What's this one sound like? Yeah, it sounds so bad.
I like this one better.
Silver wave. Stand and cheer the brave. Rah, rah, rah. Go hard, win this game. With honor, you will keep your fame.
Yes.
So down the field and gain a Lions victory. Go Lions.
Okay, with that,
All right,
Let's
that was
preview
fun.
the game.
Glad we got that out of the way.
with that, let's preview the game. A staple since 1938. Just another reason why we backed the Lions. History,
History,
tradition,
yes.
culture.
Commitment to excellence. Wait a minute.
Absolutely.
Just sing
Hang
Eminem
on.
songs.
Mom
yes.
spaghetti.
We should just play Eminem.
We should.
So the Lions are 4.5-point favorites at home on NBC and Peacock, Sunday Night Football, 5:20 p.m. against my previously, in a childhood life, beloved LA Rams. So this will be an interesting test of my own personal fidelity to show bits, because traditionally I would have rooted for the Rams here, but I'm going to root for the Lions
Okay.
all the way.
I like to just give a little shout out to the Rams
For
owning the stadium.
Yeah,
And
building
also,
SoFi.
you know, they do some stuff down in San Diego sometimes. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they embrace the San Diego fan that maybe has no team. So,
smart on their part.
yes.
When I walk into Vaughn's, I'm pretty sure I see a bunch of Ram stuff. more times
Yes.
than not.
Yeah, they always have like the Albertsons or the Vaughns, right? Like the big stand-up cutout, probably of Puka Nakua, Rams wide receiver who set the NFL rookie record last year for receptions and receiving yards. That's who our Lions need to shut down on Sunday. Is Matt Stafford. Stafford coming back, right? Stafford
Yes.
coming back
Stafford
to Detroit.
back to Detroit.
That's big time. But also it means it's a Jared Goff revenge game because Jared Goff was the Rams quarterback, led them to the Super Bowl. They got beat by the Patriots. He did not do well. He was vilified. He was considered, well, that's what's wrong with the team. And then they moved him to get Matt Stafford. And hey, Rams won the Super Bowl. So it all worked out. I guess it worked out perfect. But Goff has been better than Stafford on balance since the two switched sides. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
So Goff has been the better.
Okay.
And he is at home as the Lions try to take the next step, right? Last year,
Building
NFC
upon last
Championship.
year, yeah.
NFC Championship, but they had to go on the road to San Francisco. They want to host that bad boy inside Ford Field. So it's time to get things going with this game, and it's time to learn some of the players on this team beyond Jared Goff. We know about Amon-Ra, St. Brown. Tell me about Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs is supposed to be really good.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs is a stud. He says he's healthy after being sidelined during the preseason with a hamstring injury, but storyline to watch for the Lions, Gibbs is once again expected to be a big part of their offense. Head coach Dan Campbell said Gibbs, who made the Pro Bowl as a rookie, looks good coming off the injury and heading into year 2. Quote, when you can run like he runs, I mean, this guy can run, then if you don't test that speed in practice at least once or twice a day, you set yourself up for something bad to happen on Sunday, is what Campbell said. So, story to watch, Jahmyr Gibbs, whether or not he can hit full speed on Sunday. He's a major X factor for Detroit in this game against the Los Angeles Rams. If he's able to go full go, that's good news for the Lions moving forward.
Plus, we've got a new receiver, exciting. Jamison Williams apparently is developing a connection with Jared Goff.
So he's supposed to be a deep threat, too, which is nice.
Like to hear that, because St. Brown does a lot of work over the middle, doesn't he? That's what I remember.
Yeah, Amon-Ra does that. He's kind of a possession receiver, but he's got some breakaway speed, too. He had a great year last year. And they got enough weapons over there in Detroit. They should be a pretty good team this year.
Well, the Football Power Index prediction, which I'm sure is a real thing that exists, says that the Lions are 63% chance to win by 5.
By an average of 5.2 points. A couple of things to look at. Stats to know. Kyron Williams of the Rams had 7 straight games with 100 yards of scrimmage yards to end last season, which is the longest active streak in the National Football League. Trying to
end on Sunday. Yeah.
He's trying to extend that. Bold prediction from Seth Walder of ESPN. The Rams will generate positive EPA per play on designed carries. There's some blind Sean McVay faith in here because Detroit allowed a minus 0.09 EPA per play on design carries last season. But I'm definitely interested to see how the new interior of the Rams line with Kevin Dotson and Jonah Jackson joining Steve Avila, TCU Horned Frog. So how the running game will do. So they think they're going to have a positive.
What is positive EPA?
I don't know. That's just some advanced analytics that are just not important.
Okay. Good enough for me.
It's expected.
Sunday night game?
It's expected
Sunday night
points
game.
added. Craig.
Expected points added.
A measure of how well. Oh, where'd it go? It's a measure of how well a team performs relative to expectation.
Okay.
I don't think Dan Campbell knows what that is, or is that's one of his goals.
He thinks the EPA is the Environmental Protection Agency, and he hates it.
Because they were evil in the Simpsons movie.
Right. Says, boo that. Bite their kneecap. Here we go. All right. Lions, our beloved Lions. That's all. We're not going to drive you crazy with extensive Lions previews, but we are going to play that theme song, fight song, and it's going to become our favorite.
But only once a show. So.
Once, yeah.
So we've gotten it out.
Yeah, well, it's done. It's
Check.
done. Yeah, we don't have to do it anymore.
Fridays and Mondays.
Box ticked. Fridays and Mondays.
Fridays and Mondays.
Fridays and Mondays. Fight song and fight song.
You know what?
Preview and review.
My boss.
So Monday we'll review.
I'm uncomfortable. It's hard to just be like, oh, now I'm a fan of this team. I'm going to watch this team, and if I become a fan of this team along the way, then okay.
That's fair.
I'm more dialed into the Cowboys game this week against the Browns.
But I will watch. They also have been really working on their defense, the Lions. Very, very much excited to look at their supposedly new and improved defense.
Anthony in the chat says, will you guys pick a new team every season? Yeah, stay tuned, Anthony. What if the Lions win the Super Bowl? You know, let's find out. But that's it.
Then Annie's going to buy all the merch.
Well, she'll become a fan.
I will not be spending a cent on
the Detroit Lions.
On the NFL.
Ah, I like that. I like that. Well, if Nate in the chat still wants to send me a jersey, I'll gladly take it.
Speaking of terrible...
Gifts don't count.
Gifts don't count.
Speaking of terrible songs, my boss at TCU, as tradition on every Friday that we had work for the video department, would play that Friday song. Who's it by? Rebecca Black or something like that?
Oh.
It's Friday, gotta get that. Do you guys remember that song?
Yeah, okay.
I don't even want to play it. It's so bad.
Yeah.
We had to play that every Friday for the It's Friday song. He is now the head video coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. I wonder if he makes his crew listen to Friday every Friday. We had to do it every Friday, and it was like week 8, and I'm just rolling my eyes. I'm like, oh, here's another Friday song.
Multiple Nates in the chat saying, I'm not the one sending you I know which one is. It's fine. Let's take a break. When we come back, it is time for our silly game to wrap up the week. And today we're playing Fast Money. All right. Time for one of our fun ones. This
Good
is
Friday
your
one.
chance. Yeah, absolutely. Your chance to qualify for our end of the month grand prize drawing, which is a 2-night stay at Wynn or Encore Las Vegas. 2 tickets to see Awakening, the thrilling spectacle at Wynn Las Vegas, where tickets are on sale at awakening.com. But if you call us and become the contestant today on Fast Money, you'll have a chance to qualify to win yourself. 833-288-0973 is our number. We're opening them up right now. 833-288-0973. Give us a call. We'll find our contestant. We'll come back and play Fast Money next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by California Department of Transportation. And they've got important news for you for next weekend. Eastbound Interstate 8 is going to be closed from Jackson Drive to Route 67 starting 9 o'clock Friday, September 13th, so a week from today, and then continuing through 5 a.m. Monday, September 16th, so the entire weekend. Follow the detour signs on Route 125 if you're in the area, and give yourself more time to reach your destination. So East County denizens, please take note. I-8 from Jackson to Route 67 going to be closed starting 9 o'clock next Friday, continuing through next Monday at 5 a.m., 13th through the 16th.
Veer your F-150s to the detour. And I can say that because I drove an F-150 for many, many years.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, you'll still
Are
be
you
able...
in East County, and if you don't drive an F-150 at some point?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in my Subaru Crosstrek, but...
You're more of a La Mesa, I'm talking east.
Okay, thank you for that, because
You're kind of a
I
frou-frou
agree.
East County person.
I am a frou-frou
Yeah.
East County person. That's very fair.
I'm a
agree
tried
with
and
that.
true.
Yes, yeah, I'm not
Grew up on the mean
Lakeside.
streets of 2nd Street.
Yeah, no
All right?
Ramona, no Lakeside, no El Cajon. I'm in the jewel of the hills.
Yes.
La Mesa,
Yeah,
California.
so
Well, we've got a jewel of a game for you on Silly Games. It's time to play Fast Money. Hold for bumper. Here we go with a very popular bonus round from the Family Feud game show. It's Fast Money, and today's contestant is Chad in East County, Santee.
Chad knows about the F-150s.
What's up, Chad? Welcome to Andy and Elsten.
You know what's funny is the first time I ever called in, I was driving a delivery order in Santee. I've never lived in Santee, but you guys just kept it the entire time all the way through.
Where do you actually live? What area?
I live in Spring Valley.
Okay, well.
Whatever you call in on the first time is
not
what you
Santee.
permanently are.
Yeah,
for a
you're just
disclaimer to
Chad.
anybody
Yeah,
else.
Chad from Santee.
You're just Chad and Santee
Chad from
now.
Santee. It's
You
good. No
don't
one's
get
going
to
to try to
change.
stalk you or creep you out. They're not going to know which Chad it is.
Wow. Well, yeah, you're living for your city's pride right now, Chad, as well as a chance to qualify for our grand prize 2-night stay at Wynn or Encore Las Vegas, 2 tickets to see Awakening. This is Fast Money. It's a very simple game. It's a lot of fun. All you're going to do is this. You're going to pick your opponent. You can either take on myself or Annie. I think Annie's won 2 or 3 Fast Moneys in a row, by the way. Just want to let you know that.
Oh, wow.
But, I mean, you're killing it. The queen of Fast Money is what they say on the mean streets of Lakeside.
I think that's what the kids say, too.
It is. It's what
On
the
Jimmy Johnson Drive?
That's what all the
Yes.
kids
All
are
right.
saying on JJ Drive. So, make your choice wisely. Then that host will leave the studio, at which point our resident Steve Harvey, Braden Soprenin, is going to give you 5 questions that he recently polled one of our previous studio audiences. You're going to be looking for the most popular answer to each question. Then the host returns. They cannot repeat the answers that you give. So if you get that number 1 answer, that's a big add to you. Then we add up the scores and figure out what's what. Does all make sense, Chad?
Yes.
Chad, who would you like to play today?
Well, last week when I called into Ben and Woods, Annie was the one to shout me out more than an hour and a half later. So I want to play against Annie for the shout out.
That's
You're
awesome.
Chad who does the deliveries.
That's
right?
it.
That's
Chad,
me.
delivery
That's
Chad.
amazing, Chad. Love it. Okay, good luck to you.
All right. Annie is going to matriculate her way outside the studio.
Down the field.
Matriculate the ball down the field, boys. Matriculate the ball down the field. And now that she's out, here comes Braden with all your questions. I'm going to keep the score. Good luck.
All right, Chad, the Santee Fighting Chads of Spring Valley. He's like the Angels at this point in time. All right, you got 1 minute to answer these 5 questions, trying to get the most popular answer for each. If you need to pass on any of them that seem difficult, if we have more time, we can go back and answer said questions. Ready to go?
Yes, sir.
1 minute on the clock. We'll start after I ask you this question. Name something cherry flavored.
Lollipop.
Lollipop. All right. Name something you would see at a bullfight.
A rope.
A rope. Name something
Get a
found
rope.
in a movie studio.
A camera, like a recording camera.
Camera.
Yeah, camera.
As opposed to the cameras that don't record. Name another word for restaurant.
Bar?
I guess.
Name a German food.
A German food. I don't know that one.
No German food?
No German food? You never been to Oktoberfest in La Mesa?
What do you put on a hot dog if you're German?
Oh, sauerkraut.
There you go.
Sauerkraut.
There you go.
There we
All
go.
right.
All right, we're ready for Annie.
Very good. Annie has seen the bat signal. She is making her way in. Chad's answers are all locked in. And now it's Annie's turn to regather, put on the headset, and now Braden has questions for you.
All right, 1 minute on the clock starts after I ask you question number 1. Name something cherry flavored.
Cherry flavored,
Yes.
not cherries.
No. I guess, I mean.
Okay, cherry cough drops.
Okay.
Okay.
Cherry cough drops.
Sure.
No?
It's
Okay.
not
It's
wrong.
real.
Okay.
That's a real thing for sure.
Name something you would see at a bullfight.
A bull.
A
I
bull.
think that's a great
It's a
answer.
great answer.
I think that's a good answer.
Name something found in a
Mr. Cow.
movie studio. Yeah, Mr. Cow.
At a movie studio.
Yes.
A camera. Oh. Good job, Chad. At a movie studio, lights.
Lights
Lights,
is a
camera
good
action.
answer.
That's it.
Name another word for restaurant.
Establishment.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Name a German food.
Bratwurst.
Bratwurst.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Brat.
La Mesa Oktoberfest.
That's
That's
what we
it.
talked
All
about.
right. Okay. I've got all the answers for you, Braden. Ready
All
to
right,
go.
let's put Chad back on.
Chad on the 125. Sorry, I was reading Chad.
Name something cherry flavored. Chad said lollipop. That is 8 points.
Okay.
Annie said cough drops.
Nate said planets.
Should have said planets.
Planets.
No.
Cherry flavored planets.
Number one answer was soda.
No one said cough drops?
No.
No one said cough drops. What about pie? Was pie
Oh,
on
cherry
there?
pie.
Pie had 8 points.
I was thinking of like a flavor. Well, I guess.
Soda, Jello, gum, ice cream, lollipop, pie.
Yeah,
Cherry
cherry ice
soda.
cream.
Okay.
Cherry soda.
All right, so it's
Okay.
8-0.
Cherry Metamucil.
Okay. Name something you would see at a bullfight. Chad said rope.
Get a rope.
Oh, yeah.
No.
They're
Definitely
clearly
do
not
see a
going to
rope.
Lakeside rodeos.
I think they're going to the ones that are like vintage.
Vintage.
Name something you would see at a bullfight. And he said a bull.
Well, yeah.
Obviously.
Like in the streets of Spain. Like,
Yeah, or like in Mexico where they still do it too. Bull is number one answer, 33 points.
Number
for
one
bull.
answer. 33-8 through 2.
The bull, Toreador, which I would imagine is a torero, cape, blood, sword, rose.
All right.
I'm not disgusted by that.
Not at all.
Name something found in a movie studio. Chad said camera. Number one answer, 66 points.
Whoa.
yeah.
Annie said lights. Lights, 8 points.
Oh. People haven't been to movie studios.
That was the
Many
number
like I
41.
have.
That was the number 2 answer, so it's not like
Wow.
you're wrong.
Well, that was a real big drop off.
Yeah.
Okay.
74-41 Chad after 3.
Actor, actress was on there. Props, director, set, and script. Well, 2 people said script. That'd not be the first thing that comes to my mind. Name another word for restaurant. This is a rough one for you guys. Chad said bar. And Annie said establishment.
Here at our establishment, we
double-
serve 3 meals a day.
0 for y'all.
I'll meet you at the establishment later.
Come on
What was the number
downtown.
one answer?
to
Number
the
one answer
establishment.
was cafe.
Okay.
My mom said coffee shop. Is that
Number
on?
2 was diner. 3 was coffee shop. 4 deli. 5 was greasy spoon.
Okay.
6 cafeteria. 7 eatery. 8
Which is close to establishment.
but no cigar. And 8 was burger joint.
Burger joint. Come on
All
down to
you-
the establishment.
All you La Mesa Oktoberfest people, stay tuned for their answers on this one.
Well, still 74-41 after 4. Down to the last question. Here we go.
Name a German food. Chad, with help from Craig, said Sauerkraut, which is
That's
correct.
a good one. That's a good one.
Annie said bratwurst, also correct.
Ooh.
Which one is more popular? The physical dog or the stuff that goes on
Or
the
the
dog?
topping to the said dog.
It would be the topping of the said
Oh,
dog.
wow.
49 points for sauerkraut.
Woohoo!
Bratwurst got 3 points.
Wait, beer?
3 points.
Was beer on there? Or did you say food?
Food.
Okay, yeah.
Hefeweizen.
Hefeweizen, yes.
Sauerkraut was the number one answer, followed by
Pretzel?
But here's the thing: it's like Wiener Schnitzel was number 2.
My mom said
Okay.
Wiener Schnitzel too.
Knockwurst was 3. I don't even know what that is.
another
Sauerbraten
kind of
was
brat.
6. Wieners was 5. German chocolate cake had 4
Oh.
people answer. Bratwurst 3. Potato salad 2.
123 to 44. Chad is your winner.
Congrats, Chad.
Way to go, Chad.
Chad from Santee, Spring Valley.
Stay right there, my friend. Traveling the mean streets of East County
The
to deliver.
125.
The Santee Fighting
Goods and
Chads of Spring
sundries.
Valley.
And yes, Nate, I didn't lead him to it. I kind of did, but based on Annie's answer, he would have won anyway. He still was going to win, so it's all good.
I like when he won. It's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday.
Friday.
Chad wins.
Go Chad, yeah.
Stay right there, Chad. We're back with hour number 4 next of Annie and Elsten. Our final hour of our broadcast week begins. Annie and Elsten here with you on The Fan. Annie Halbern, Craig Elsten, Braden Soprenet, all together in our Odyssey studios. It's cooking out there. We got a heat advisory, excessive heat warning if you're in the right part of East County all weekend long through Monday. Actually, all the way through Monday.
Bless you.
Bless you, Braden. So be careful.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great weekend to go to the mountains, if you can do it. Great weekend to find elevation.
It's a great weekend to find AC.
Great weekend to find AC. Great weekend to hit the beach. Everyone else is going to be doing it, but still.
Great weekend to sit on your couch and watch college football.
You can do that too. Make sure that electric bill is paid, and then enjoy climate-controlled joy.
Adam Klug said that his AC is broken in his house, and I remember one time my AC went out in like one of these heat waves, and it's so hard to get anyone to come fix it because they're like so busy. Because everyone's trying to fix their AC right now.
Right.
So thoughts and prayers if that is you right now.
Hey, couple of quick things here as we hit reset on the show. We're going to talk some more Padres, of course, coming up this hour as the Padres take on the Giants. We had a Giants preview earlier during our Padres Deep Dive Hour. We are just kind of trying to flush and forget about last night's game. I mean, you remember the parts about it. We've discussed usage. We've discussed pitching relievers back-to-back today. We've identified Robert Suarez's stats and recognized that actually, even with a grand slam allowed, he's third, fourth, fifth best closer in the league this year. Nothing to be done about that. What's to be done is to keep the pedal down. You're in a situation right now, and we detailed it again during the Deep Dive Hour, where the next week, the Mets are playing bad opponents, the Braves are playing bad opponents, and you're playing the Giants, pretty much. And the Giants count as a team with a losing record, but they're also a team in your division that's beaten you 4 out of 7 so far this year. You're going to miss Blake Snell twice. You're going to hit Logan Webb twice. These are important series for the Padres to keep momentum.
Yeah, we heard Mark Willard speaking with us in our 11 a.m. hour about how the Giants, who he covers, are already calling up young guys, already trying to see what they have for future years, not playing with the same intensity that a team in a playoff push is. Now, I don't think they're going to play like weekly. Obviously the Padres don't want to overlook them, but it is an opportunity if you do catch some maybe young guys who are just trying to make a name for themselves or get some playing time, or guys who are just sort of maybe, one eye on the postseason where they're going to be on vacation. Either way, right? Maybe be able to take advantage of that a little bit.
Yeah, and tonight, Michael King out on the mound, and I think, I'm looking for a really big start from Michael King. He is the player more than most of the other pitchers on this staff that the Padres have been extremely deliberate about when they use him, when they push him back a day. They've really had this regiment that was planned in February. They've been executing it for 6 months now.
And he is getting, I believe, 2 extra days this time. It's been a week since he started.
Yep.
So they were intentional about that, giving him 2 extra days. They were able to do that with the off day, Yu Darvish coming back into the rotation. And so they chose for Michael King to get those extra days. And that is another reason, right? Like why you're watching these arms going down the stretch. And hopefully this is something that will, keep his arm a little more refreshed.
I think no one's going to talk about it. They wouldn't have any reason to. But I think there's an evaluation going on with the playoffs in mind in these final 3.5 weeks about the starting rotation. There's just no doubt that Dylan Cease would start a playoff game for you. There's just no doubt that Joe Musgrove is going to start a playoff game for you. I think those things are absolutely set. And if you went by season performance, there would be absolutely no doubt that Michael King would be that third starter. He's one of the league's ERA leaders for the season, Michael King. Now, Yu Darvish is this team's leader of the pitching staff. He's a veteran ace. He's a guy that's there to be the number one. But I do believe that the next 3-4 starts for you and King are almost a little mini playoff within the playoff to see who gets that first round third start.
Yeah, man, I'm sure you're starting to not get too far ahead of yourself, but you're definitely keeping an eye on it, because also what if that last series you have to, depending on what kind of seeding you might be trying to get, how many big arms do you have to really lean on to get that seeding if you're not already there. That's why, Craig, you were talking about earlier, trying to get to that spot before the last week of the season so that you don't have to run too hard that last week or those last 3 games heading into the postseason. But, Michael King the other day, he spoke in the clubhouse the other day, talked about how he's never started a playoff game before and he's looking forward to many starts, and you do wonder, is he going to get the starter? I'm sure he's going to be used in one way or another, and I think Michael King is going to be elated however that goes, because for this entire team it means that they're being used as pieces in the postseason, and that's really all that they want or the biggest emphasis right now.
If Yu Darvish is really good in his last 4 starts of the year, I would expect Michael King to be our impact reliever in the first round of the series, that he would be that guy that might follow you onto the mound whenever Darvish starts and give you 2 or 3 innings, coming after that. I could totally see that for him. However, that's only if you pitches well, if Musgrove keeps it up. Otherwise, I think you need King in that starting rotation because he's been that good.
Yeah, and still, 20 games left, 3 weeks to go. Again, that's not that long, but I think you're definitely watching it and seeing how these arms are performing and looking at that extra rest and what can we do and how can we use guys. Whatever Michael King does, whether it's a starter or coming in, after the starter comes out, he's going to have a very important role. And man, he's been good. He really has. He's been really good for this team.
As far as what happened last night, again, just put it aside. Every once in a while, closers blow games. I used to say this all the time, and it was a different era. But I used to say on the radio all the time that San Diegans can't complain about the weather, even on a hot day like today. And San Diegans can't complain when Trevor Hoffman blows a save, because he's saved so many games. When he blows a save, it just shows you he's human. And when Robert Suarez blows his 4th save of the year on his 35th try, when he's also been asked to preserve like 8 or 9 different 4-run leads that he didn't get a save for. This guy has locked it down. He has been absolutely nails for this team. And the only takeaway that I hope this coaching staff does take away from last night's game is that we've got great relievers at the back of our bullpen, but they are human beings, and you can't just pitch them every day and expect it to still work.
Yeah, and there's a cumulative effect of the wear and tear of the season. And when that hits, no one knows, right? They're checking the boxes right now of how is his recovery? How does all his data points look for everyone, not just for Robert Suarez. And every team is dealing with the same sort of thing in their rotation, in their bullpen, in their position players, because everyone's dealing with something right now. Every player on that field or in every game you're watching is not feeling 100% healthy right now. So it's something to watch for sure as they go forward. And what would be icing on the cake for this team, and they have been on a bit of a magic carpet ride. I know they took a little dip yesterday, but they're still flying on the carpet, okay? Is if they do get into a position where they have some laughers, right? They have enough and that's not even to say that the offense is doing its part. And the offense has been really good for the Padres this year, and they want to give the bullpen some break too. But you might run into some teams here that maybe aren't playing with that same intensity. Maybe you can put up some more runs. Maybe you can separate, halfway through the game, and you take some of that pressure off of the bullpen too. They're facing Mason Black today for the Giants, 24-year-old rookie. Struck out 16 against 7 walks in 19 1/3 innings since making his debut in May. His first appearance against the Padres.
He has major-like stats. ERA over 7.
7.45 ERA.
This is a guy.
He took a break, came back.
Yep. I really want to see this Padres offense lock in. I do. This new look team. We really only saw the new look lineup twice now. The first night, they were down 5-0 and rallied to win and left a billion base runners on base. Then really it kind of felt yesterday like up 3-0, little bit of a back off last night from San Diego. And for all the people who have been ripping Suarez today because he was the guy at the end of the game, I would like to note that the Padres had 2 cracks at Kenta Maeda, who has basically led the American League in highest ERA all year, got bombed out of the rotation, is pitching mop-up relief for Detroit. And the Padres did nothing. against Kenta Maeda.
Yeah, and my only thing is like, as easy as it is, especially after the wins in those post-game pressers, to be like, this team, it gives away nothing, takes everything and everything. And he's right. Mike Schultz right. For the most part, this is a team that's very aggressive, that doesn't allow a lot of errors and whatnot. But man, it is hard to go out there day in and day out at 140 games into the season and be locked in, completely focused. I mean, they've honestly, the Padres have done a really good job of it since the All-Star break, really not letting up at all. But I just think they're at a point in the season where it's almost like survival to get into the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
Maybe I'm putting that on them. I think they show up to the ballpark every day and absolutely are prepared and do their work and are ready to go. I just think that this is a rough stretch still of trying to get through these final weeks.
It is, but it's time to hit the accelerator again.
The problem is that all the other teams are playing
That's it. Everyone's playing great.
At a high level.
There are 4 good teams that are fighting for 3 playoff spots, and somebody is going to be left out. And I hope that team is the Braves or the Mets. Heck, I mean, if the Diamondbacks want to back out, that's fine too. But the Padres are in that grouping. So we need to be, as a group, as the folks who follow this team, I think we need to remain extremely confident that this club has what it takes and that it's going to get to the end. And also recognize that somebody isn't going to make it, and nothing is promised to San Diego. Someone isn't going to make it. So you don't get to just wish your way to the finish line. You got to run through the tape. And that's why I'd like to see the offense find a groove this weekend. I get Logan Webb on Saturday. That's a tough matchup. You get to throw Cease against him. So hopefully it's a low-scoring game on Saturday in the Padres' favor. But you get good matchups the other 2 days. And I'd really love to see this offense grab this series and just hang on to it and take care of business. That's where I see the Padres able to really do damage.
Yeah, they have a good opportunity against the Giants and then against a Mariners team that, I mean, do we say they've given it? I mean, they pitch probably pretty well still, but they've been struggling a lot.
They've changed their manager. They've been in a free fall. They blew a 10-game lead in the division. They're out of it.
They're still going to come out and play and give a fight, but they are losing more than they're winning.
Let's take a time out. Media Melanie is in the on-deck circle for Crossing Streams. First, my buddy Beto sent this to me, and I just want to pass it along. Little public service announcement for you if you're looking for something going on this weekend. Sunday out at SeaWorld San Diego, Club Tijuana, the Cholos, are making a day of it. And SeaWorld is doing a special deal for soccer fans, one-day $60 ticket that gets you into the Cholos Ultimate Fan Day. There's going to be a parade of the players from Club Tijuana Femenil. The female team will be there as well. Team parade along the park pathways, meet and greets with players from both teams, Cholo girls cheer performance, fan gallery, live artist painting, giveaways, and more. So if you want to check that out, that is SeaWorld. $60 ticket gets you everything on Sunday.
And you get into SeaWorld?
Yeah, SeaWorld Plus.
Go do that and then ride the roller coasters in the heat.
Right.
And it'll give you like a hot breeze.
Yes. And then sit in the soak zone.
Yes.
For one of the shows and get soaked. Soak zone.
It's actually not a bad idea.
This would be one of the rare weekends that I'd be like, soak zone sounds okay. Let's do soak zone.
Man, when I was a kid, we would soak. Soak zone was a place to be.
It's just nasty water, you know?
I know. Now I know. But, when you're like 8 years old.
Yeah, soak zone.
You're like,
oh,
soak zone.
Throw all that E. coli on me. Just send it my way.
Animal tank water.
Yes. So nothing gross. Like animal tank water. It's just.
And then, you smell like it,
Wee bit briny. All right, when we come back, it's Media Melanie. It's Crossing Streams. We've still got Ask Us Anything. We got Padres baseball tonight. It's been a fun week. Annie and Elsten here with you on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Baseball. Say what you want about it, but it's not boring. Join Rob Bradford on his podcast, Baseball Isn't Boring, where every day Rob tells you that the game is not boring and basically emphasizes that message with multiple people along the way. Follow Baseball Isn't Boring in the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Do that thing. Danny and Elsten, our penultimate What?
Nothing to add.
No. We love baseball. We find it entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
We don't find it boring.
No. I mean, but if Rob wants me to come on the show, I could tell him that baseball isn't boring. It is stupid.
You really want one of those T-shirts, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, that's what this is about.
I still want the...
You saw Tony in the shirt.
Well, do all guests get T-shirts?
I think
Great
so.
question.
Yeah.
I think
If
it's part
so,
of the deal.
Well, if so, welcome me on. I don't wear a lot of white T-shirts, though. Just being real. Not
Dirty too quick.
Yeah.
Doesn't match your complexion.
No. No. Usually
Washes you out.
a little, maybe a little bit.
Well, no, I'm not saying it. Just
Yeah.
you were looking at the NFL teams like.
True. I was
You know?
thinking about the
Yeah,
colors.
think about the colors,
how
right.
how does it look?
Yes.
Like, I don't look good in, like, it's okay to have pink on, but, like, I'm wearing this pink sleeve. Like, it's a pink's right there next to me. It's doesn't work. Doesn't work with my rosy complexion. Then I'm just a giant budding flower.
I didn't notice that, but
Appreciate you.
yeah.
What I notice is that Media Melanie's on the line.
All right. Hey,
Hi, Media Melanie. What's
Melanie.
going on? Hi, Media.
Hey guys, just out here trying to stay cool today. It is an absolute scorcher,
Oh,
and
my
we
Lord.
are all talking about right now.
Yeah, no kidding. I wonder how hot first pitch is going to be tonight, Media. Melanie.
Ooh, gosh,
got me.
big
I know.
question. Probably hot.
Andy called you Media instead of Melanie, and now I'm stuck
By
on it.
accident. Yes.
Game time temperature 115
It's okay.
degrees.
Always great to have you on,
You
Melanie.
can call me whatever.
Thanks.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Well, each week, if you haven't heard, each week, Media Melanie comes along in this segment around 1:20 on a Friday for our Crossing Streams segment, which is a callback to all the years that I was on with Ben and Woods on Fridays, where Media Melanie offers us a streaming television recommendation that you can take into the weekend that will be. And I am curious what you got going for us this week.
Well, this week's pick features a 2022 series that currently has one season, but it's returning for a second on September 12th. The Old Man on FX and Hulu.
Oh,
is
really?
an
It's coming
engaging
back.
Spy drama. It is season 2, September 12th. Did you watch the first season?
I did.
Craig?
I watched the first season of The Old Man. I didn't really think it was set up for a second season, so that's got me interested.
Yes, it is an engaging spy drama, and it was inspired by Thomas Perry's novel, and it centers on Dan Chase, who is a former CIA agent portrayed by Jeff Bridges. And after spending years living under the radar, his past resurfaces, and it forces him to escape using his finely tuned survival skills. And as this chase intensifies, he faces past enemies, old colleagues, and buried secrets that threaten his life and the people he holds dear. And at the heart of the series is the dynamic between Chase and Harold Harper, my favorite character, who is played by John Lithgow.
Yeah.
Love John Lithgow. And Harper is an FBI official. He's got a personal connection to Jeff Bridges' character and is tasked with capturing him. The two are drawn into a gripping cat and mouse game, and their complicated history and the true nature of their missions ends up coming to light. Amy Brennerman also stars as Zoe McDonald, a woman who becomes entangled in this dangerous world of espionage. And the show does a good job combining character-driven drama, thrilling action sequences, and Jeff Bridges is just phenomenal. He portrays vulnerability and sharp instincts of a man who spent his years in hiding. Now, he is 74 years old and just comes across as such a badass in this role. And again, John Lithgow brings a lot of complexity to his character, depicting a man struggling between duty and personal feelings. The Old Man delivers an intense mix of suspense, espionage, and deep personal conflict. It's a story filled with loyalty and betrayal and a quest for redemption. And the good news, there are only 7 episodes in season 1, so it's pretty easy to get through. You can stream those on Hulu. And season 2 drops 2 episodes at once on FX on September 12th, and they will stream to Hulu the next day. They are planning a total of 8 episodes for the second season, and I'm excited. Like you, Craig, I didn't know if it would come back again, but I'm intrigued to see where the season goes.
Yeah, me too. I mean, there's something about shows like this, Melanie, that leave me, as my grandparents used to say, from Missouri, meaning you got to show me. And Missouri, the show me state. Sorry, got to fill that out. Because it felt like a one-season idea. So then I get to the second season, I go, well, now what else do you have for me? And there are some shows, as you know very well, that take it and go to a whole new level. And you say season 1 was all right, but season 2 is where it really takes off. And then there are others that you watch the first 2 or 3 episodes of a second season, you realize there's nothing there, and that's that. And you're done. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know which direction I'm going to go with The Old Man, but I definitely watched all of the first season, thought that some of the plot got a little convoluted and took a couple of liberties along the way, but I did find it enjoyable. I find a spy espionage, type story to be interesting as well, and there's definitely a lot of that of cross, double cross, who's smarter, who's on the right path, who's going to catch who, who's going to outsmart who. So I enjoyed all of that. One actor that I would bring up is Aaliyah Shawkat, who, young actress who's done a great job, and she plays an important go-between role between our two stars of John Lithgow and Jeff Bridges. The other thing is they did do a really good job in the first season, I thought, Melanie, of giving Jeff Bridges the ability to fill out that character without it seeming incredibly unrealistic in terms of the physical things that he was asked to do at his age.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And like I said, I mean, he was 72 years old when they filmed this. So I do think they struck the right balance of, the physicality of the role and how it played into the story. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how season 2 stacks up, and I think these first 2 episodes will be a good gauge for us to see if it's gonna carry on and be a good season.
Well, I like it. The Old Man, season 2 on FX. So because it's on FX, that means you can catch it the next day on Hulu as well. If you don't have a cable subscription that has FX or have it platformed, you can watch this show on Hulu, and you can catch up with past episodes on Hulu as well. Melanie, let everybody know where they can follow you on a day-by-day basis and check out all the content you create.
Yes, you can follow me at Media Melanie on all the socials, and then subscribe to MediaMelanieTV.com.
Appreciate you always. Thank you so much for gracing us on Fridays, putting a little light, a little bit of fun into our 1 p.m. hour, and we look forward to doing it again next week. And good luck on set this weekend, stage managing for Padres.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I'll talk to you guys next week.
There she is, the great Media Melanie, joining us once again right here on Annie and Elsten. Appreciate her.
Yes.
Let's take a time out.
Thanks, guys.
No, my pleasure. Always good. When we come back, it's time to wrap up the show. It's Ask Us Anything for a Friday. We always like to give you a little bit more time on a Friday to jump on in. So let's open up the phone lines right now. 833-288-0973 is our number. 833-288-0973. You've got 15 minutes to call the show. Giving you plenty of time. You got 15 minutes to call the program. And if you do, we'll get you on the air. All you got to do is come prepared with a question to ask us. Doesn't even have to be about sports. It could be about anything. But we'll do Ask Us Anything and wrap up a week of Annie and Elsten when we return on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Final segment of the week. Appreciate you all for being out there. Whether you're somebody who listens to us on podcast, whether you're somebody who watches the YouTube show every day, just catches us on the radio when you're in and out of your car. However, wherever, whenever, we appreciate everybody who's made Annie and Elsten a part of your midday. Thank you for hanging with us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Ketel Marte just got activated from the injured list.
He's
for
activated.
Arizona. So hopefully getting their best player back will tank them in an inexplicable way.
They've played so much better without him. Isn't that the logic?
Their issue, too, is still their bullpen and their middle relief, right?
Yeah.
A little bit their starting pitching. So, but I know their ability to score runs does not get worse with Ketel Marte.
Theoretically, they should score as many or more.
And they're already pretty good at scoring runs. So, yeah.
That's one of those things that you would have gotten me. You would have gotten me for a good bet at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Which team's going to lead the majors in runs scored? And then you throw Diamondbacks up on the board. I'd have been like, no chance. No, how about they're leading by like 50 runs? Not just leading by a mile.
Like the second most runs is what, like 50? Really, like
It's like 40 something more. I could look up the exact number.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it doesn't always necessarily correlate into wins, but when you look at some of the collapses that their bullpen has had and the closing situation for them, and they have scored so many runs that sometimes it's a little deceiving. They're able to get out of those jams.
It's 51. I was actually exactly
51
right.
between the first and second team?
Yes, 765 runs for the Diamondbacks, 765, and the Yankees have 714.
Who's 765?
The Diamondbacks.
Oh, they're number one. And then
They're
the Yankees are
yeah.
second with 714.
714.
Okay,
So,
wow.
Yeah. 51 run difference.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the 700 run teams right now in baseball are the Diamondbacks, 765, the Yankees, 714, the Orioles, 707, and the Dodgers, 701. Where are the Padres? 676. Not far.
No,
Not
I
far
think
behind.
probably more a little balanced, right? You have a pitching staff that also holds, and
Yeah.
you maybe sometimes, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that doesn't make sense.
Well, in on the balance, on differential, the Diamondbacks are 24 runs better than us. They're at plus 94 to our plus 70. But that's because they've scored almost 100 more runs than we have. Now, we've given up 65 fewer runs than they have.
okay.
So we've done better on run prevention, but they've blown everyone out of the water in run scoring. So, you know, what can you say about Arizona? They're a really good team. We'll play in the last weekend of the year. Then we're probably, almost undoubtedly, going to play them in the first round of the playoffs. And that's going to be where our season's defined, is whether we get past Arizona or whether they get past us. That's where it's going to land. Now, could things change? Yes. Padres could finish 4th, 5th, 6th, maybe first, but I mean, it's pretty unlikely. They could finish out of it. They could.
Who do the Dodgers play this weekend?
Questions?
Okay.
Questions.
I could have looked that up myself.
We have
The
answers.
Guardians at the Dodgers.
Okay.
So they're 3 with the Guardians.
Oh, that's a good team.
And I honestly, you just talked about the Diamondbacks earlier, but I forget already who they play. I'm going to look that up too. Okay. Looking up a whole lot. Astros. The Diamondbacks are at the Astros.
So, hey, I would like to see by the end of the weekend, and when we are back here on Monday, I would like to see the Padres have gained 1 game over Arizona. That's what I would like to see. I would like to see the Padres gain 1 game over Arizona. So if that means that we take 2 out of 3 and the Diamondbacks lose 2 out of 3 in Houston, or if it means the Diamondbacks win 2 out of 3 in Houston and we sweep, I would like to see 1 game gained between the Padres and Arizona this weekend, get to 1.5, and see where we can go from there. Because it feels like the season's forever. It's not. There's 20 games left. Peel off the weekend at 17.
I can't believe there's 20 games left of the regular season.
That's it.
Ugh.
We started this on March 20th at 3 a.m. at 7 Mile Casino.
I mean, a 20-game countdown to the season being over. And honestly, you look at the calendar, right, and you see just 1 homestand left for the Padres.
Yeah.
Hopefully they have some playoff games. I'm sure they'd like that at Petco Park. But 1 regular season homestand left.
Mets are hosting the Reds all weekend. Maybe the Reds can steal a game in there somewhere. The Marlins are at the Phillies. Phillies are going to kick ass. The Blue Jays are at the Braves. You would certainly hope that Toronto could sneak a game out of that series, but wait to find out. And as you said, Diamondbacks, Astros, Mariners at Cardinals. I'm not really going to keep my eye on the Cardinals at this point. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask for the bumper. Let's get to Ask Us Anything. Here we go. Phone lines are open. 833-288-0973 is the number. 833-288-0973. You've still got about 5 minutes to call the show. So if you just heard the number, give us a ring. We'll figure it out. Braden's over there screening, but we've got Steve in Carlsbad ready to go. Hi, Steve. You're on with Annie and Elsten. Ask us anything.
Hey, Greg, question for you about the Front Wave Arena opening up in a few weeks up here in Oceanside. Curious if you've toured it and what your thoughts are.
I have not been able to tour it yet. I'll just peel it all through here. I've spoken to the organization in the past week because they've talked to me about announcing Sockers games and maybe San Diego Clippers games, depending on what the Clippers want to do.
Congrats.
The head of Front Wave Arena texted me and said, "Hey, you need to go out and get a tour." So that's where I stand right now. Steve is waiting to do said tour. I'm just looking on the website, and it looks like the first concert at Front Wave Arena is one of my favorite bands of all time, Cake, playing on October 5th. So I think I'm going to try and figure out a way to get to that.
They have like Simone Biles there
Yes.
for a gymnastics thing, which is pretty cool.
First ever event at Front Wave is going to be September 16th and 17th. So 10 days away for them to open that bad boy up for good. Gold Over America tour with Simone Biles, September 16th and 17th. First preseason game. The Clippers, the actual Clippers, the big league Clippers, will be at Front Wave Arena on October 8th to take on the Brooklyn Nets in an NBA preseason game. So those are the first major things coming up at Front Wave Arena. But I didn't even know that Cake is going to be there. I'm psyched for that.
I love Cake.
I love Cake. Is it Cake? The answer is yes. Is it a band? Also yes.
I hate that meme.
You don't like...
everything's just like cutting a guy's hand. Oh, it's Cake.
It's Cake. Yeah. Well, don't cut the hand. Here comes Johnny. And thank you, Steve, for calling. Appreciate you, man. Here's Johnny in Forest Ranch. What's up, Johnny?
Hey, hi, Elsten and Annie. How are you guys? And you too, Braden.
Yeah, you too, Braden. We're good.
What's up?
Happy Friday.
Hey, happy Friday. I can't forget Braden, right? Braden's very important.
No.
So we
He
can't
is
forget.
extremely
Yes.
important.
That's right.
Glue of the show.
Thanks,
So
Johnny.
I kind of had a two-parter question for the both of you, or maybe even the three of you, if you guys want to answer it all. Especially you, Elton. I know you kind of pay attention to soccer, especially European soccer. So I wanted to know who's your favorite team. And then my second part of the question, again, for all of you, if you want to answer it, is if we could get another team here, if that Midway Rising project goes through and we get an arena, would you prefer an NBA team or an NHL team?
Okay, great questions, Johnny. Let's start with the end part of that. There's going to be headwinds to either one of those leagues, and people don't want to recognize this, but in the worlds of the NBA and the NHL, San Diego was taken. It's claimed. It's the property of the LA. Like the Ducks and the Kings consider San Diego their region. The Lakers and the Clippers, especially now the Clippers with moving their team to Oceanside, they consider San Diego their region. So if the league tries to put a team in San Diego, whether by moving a team or expansion, those teams are going to scream bloody murder and say, no, you are impacting our market share. You're taking away a percentage of our fan base, just like you remember what the Chargers used to say, right? About, well, a quarter of our fan base comes from this or that. So personally, I would adore having an NBA team here. I think it would be incredible. I think it would be transformative. But I'm afraid that even if it were to happen, Annie, that the Lakers and Clippers would be like, no.
well, in the fantasy world in which I like to live, I would agree. I think the NBA. I think I would take either. I think it'd be so fun to have an NHL team here too, but I would go with NBA.
Yeah, I mean, I think NHL would actually have a pretty decent chance, just in that you've got the Gulls fan base that already pre-exists. Sure. But that's the thing; those fans are groomed to be Ducks fans, Gulls fans. There's Kings fans in there too, so it would be a really interesting thing. And Johnny, thanks for the call. I don't actually have a set my favorite European soccer team. It's a failing. I've fought through picking we should have a 2-week segment with Eliminator so I could get an English Premier League team.
No,
we're not going to do that?
No.
No?
Well, look what happened for us just to get to the NFL one.
That's true. That's fair.
I have no qualms about European soccer. Whatever you guys choose.
I guess that's where I would be too. I'd be like, okay, what's the team?
Right. Craig's gonna be like, I really don't like this guy.
Spent this whole time
going
blah,
eliminate
blah,
based
blah, blah, blah.
on name and color on this
then
one.
You're like,
yes.
it's fine.
Stuff.
I've been trying to think about developing an EPL team, and I just can't decide. I literally can't decide. I'm leaning Tottenham because they seem like deeply average.
Tottenham Hotspurs.
Yeah.
Wow.
They do that.
They seem deeply average to me, and that feels very San Diegan.
They got a fun song.
Here's Bob. Hi, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Welcome, Danny. And
hey, how you guys doing?
Doing great, man.
Hey,
How are
I
you?
just wanted to ask about Roberto Suarez. Obviously, the worst day of his professional career. Everyone's bummed, of course, that we lost. I wanted to ask if you heard of or got wind of any kind of support or boost up that he got from anybody after that terrible event last night. What was the fallout in terms of support from teammates, people calling and talking about it, manager, coaching staff? I know everyone's bummed. It's horrible. I was listening to the game and, oh my God, it's a grand slam and we lose. But what was the fallout, or what was the happenings in terms of people supporting him?
Oh, interesting. About that? Yeah, I don't know.
What's his name?
Bob.
Bob, respect the question. Honestly, as bad as Robert Suarez felt, I'm sure, this is a guy who worked construction and security and just labored away to get even a shot at the big leagues. He's been so good this season and has worked his way into this closer role that he's full-time closer. I think that he just took it as this is part of baseball, with only being four blown saves for him for the entire season. This happens sometimes, and I think he flushed it and moved on. I'm sure he felt bad about it, but I think he also realizes like he's got a great opportunity to go out there and get the next one.
Yeah, and listen, the players in the Padres clubhouse back Robert Suarez
for sure
all the way, back him to the hilt. So they would say, Robert, we'll give you the ball tonight. Now, I would suggest they don't do that because Suarez has pitched 4 out of 5 days. I think they should give him a day off, but that's not anywhere the same as what you've heard some people, a very small people. And remember, we hear it all because we're here on Sports Talk Radio. You literally call us, but bench him, make Scott the closer. None of that is happening. None of that is happening at all.
And for sure, the clubhouse is has his back and is, hey.
You're telling me that they didn't go, you blew it!
No.
Way to go, Bob! Way to go, Robert!
He wasn't not allowed to go in the cafeteria or
you're sleeping
use
outside,
the restroom,
Robert. We could have picked up a game on the Diamondbacks. You blew it.
They did not lock the clubhouse doors and say, you cannot come in today.
Coffee's for closers.
Honestly,
but
Bob,
I am a closer.
Totally respect the question because I can see where he's coming from on that.
Could you imagine if they did that? That'd have been
no,
so
because that'd be insane.
Maybe they did an appeal.
What a fun week it was. Annie's going to be off Monday, but Braden and I will be back with you then. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.